Welcome once again to The Upgrade. My name is Gary Muttley, and he is...
Len Carmichael, Landmine Studios. How's it going today, Gary?
Coming from the road.
Yeah, I had band practice, and I figured, well, I don't want to hold up the show. I'll call in from my phone. I have a fancy new iPhone 12 Pro VR, like, kiss your whole entire ass with it phone. So I was like, let's just fucking do it. It holds a charge. Yeah, let me tell you, I have had an iPhone since like the second one that came out, and they've all sucked with battery. But this one, since I went for like the highest end Pro Max bullshit thing.
Which one do you have now?
Like, I have the biggest one that they sell. Because, bigger is better.
What is it, the 12 or?
Yeah, the 12 Pro Max.
Okay, so the one that just came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have the one before, but I have the Pro Max, and the battery on that is pretty sweet.
So apparently they have two batteries in this fucking thing. It's not just one. So I go like 2 to 3 days without charging my phone. Because no matter how much I use it, I never get to the end of the battery. It's just never there. And then I'm like, all right, well, I guess about 20%, I guess I'll fucking charge it now. So I figured, fuck it. I'm in the car. Let's put the headphones in. Let's fucking do it. So now we here.
Yeah, I get
driving
pretty
through
good.
Princeton right now.
Nice. I get pretty good battery on mine, but I sit there and play games all the time. So, it won't last days.
The only game I play on my phone is scroll Instagram. And I play, is it going to be a butt or is it going to be a cat? Because, that's pretty much the 2-3 things that are on there. Or maybe it could be a dog. And occasionally it's a friend's face. And I'm like, oh, click. I guess I'll like that.
Well, speaking of butts, and I don't want to go on a long political tangent, but I just have to mention this because we've discussed it many, many times. This will come as a shock to many people, but Donald Trump was ripping people off again.
The water is wet, sky is blue. Nobody.
You remember when he was taking all those donations?
Yeah.
Apparently, there was a box that was automatically checked that makes it a recurring donation. So it was all over. It was all over today that like people were getting hit monthly for like $900 a month.
These are the same people that went on Parler and gave them all their like social security information because they're fucking idiots that don't know how to read and honestly just are signing up because they're stupid. And you know what? They fucking deserve it. I don't give a shit.
I will say I felt a tiny bit bad because a few of the people that they talked about were old. So these are the same ones that would probably fall for a fucking Nigerian prince anyway. But instead they got, the orange skin prince.
Right.
So, but it's just, oh my God, he's ripping people off. I'm shocked. I never would have guessed. Anyway, we have a guest.
Yes, we do. He is a fine gentleman by the name of Cody. He lives in Pennsylvania, and he sings for a band that I have actually filled in for in the past on guitar. And they are called Gloves Off. Cody, welcome to the show.
What's going on, Cody?
Thanks, Rick. Hey, hi.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Gloves Off? How did that get started?
Gloves Off started out of necessity. I was in a band that was like a kind of mathcore band that was called Lightning Arms with some of my friends from childhood, and our guitar player died kind of suddenly. And the only way we could really deal with it was to keep writing music. So we started Gloves Off in my basement. Still did it, and none of the original members except for me are still in it.
Okay. So literally nobody in the band is an original member other than you now?
Nope. Not a single one, just me, and it's been 4 years now.
Okay. I had no idea that, like, Ethan was not, like, an original member of your band.
Nah, I grabbed Sean randomly, and Sean was like, hey, I've been talking to this dude Ethan. Ethan came over, did a couple Fred Durst impressions, and I was like, great. It just so happens that, everyone in my band is stupid musically talented, and I just yell stuff, and it just worked out really well.
Dude, I'm going to tell you, when I filled in for you guys down in fucking Texas, that was harrowing because I definitely thought I was going to be better at playing it than I actually was. And, I like walked into it like, I got this. And we get down there to Texas like, I don't think I have this. Oh, shit. And,
yeah, as much as we all hang out all the time, and the way they write, it blows my mind to the point where I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, me and Ethan, even like writing vocal patterns, I'm like, hey man, I listen to pop punk all day, and I have no idea what I'm doing right now, so can you help me? Like, luckily I went to school for like composition writing and English literature, like college, so I can write my ass off, but when it comes to like making vocal patterns over guitar leads and fitting things, I would be lost without those guys.
Dude, I was lost from like, I mean, I know that it came off fine, like it sounded okay, but it definitely was staring across the room at Sean's hands because I was just like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now.
Well, we got that one of our craziest tours because Mark, our bass player at the time, got sent to the hospital the night before we were about to fly down. He had to teach Mitchell the bass lines on the flight.
He learned 0 of them.
That's funny.
It was a good time.
I'm telling you right now, Mitchell knew none of that. He was just like, I'm going to turn down, and I'm just going to make it look like I'm playing. And I'm like, okay, do that. And I was like, well, Mark was going to be my saving grace, and now Mark is ill and can't be here. But I'm glad that Mark is much better now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they pulled it off. I was like, hey, just fake it to make it, turn around, do some head bobbing with it.
Listen, I think I mentioned that I had a moment like that, like when I filled in Brooklyn one time. I filled in for Full Blown Chaos on like maybe an hour and a half's notice, and I'm out in somebody's car listening to the songs. And this was back when Joey was singing before Ray was even in the band.
Okay.
And they just had that one like 4-song CD.
Uh-huh.
And then we get up on stage, and then Joey introduces the first song, and it's Blood Flow, the one new song they have that's not on the CD. And I'm just like, oh shit! And guitar player is just like, dude, just ride the low string, ride the low string, you'll be fine. And
perfect.
I mean, honestly,
like,
that song.
Okay.
That song is like literally 75% low string open.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like I rode the low string just like you said, and it was fine. It worked out.
You know what? People don't even pay attention. That's one of the few things that I can tell both of you right now is that like for people that are uninitiated to music, you play them something, and unless it's glaringly obvious that it's wrong, they think it's right because they don't know any better.
They don't know.
I spend hours sitting in front of these mixes, like, and maybe I get them right, maybe I don't get them right, but I spend my time doing this, and then people are gonna listen to it on a fucking phone.
Yep.
With the speaker from the phone, not even with headphones or anything else, and it doesn't even matter what I do half the time because people can't hear it anyway. So, what are we doing?
Just turn up to 11 and hope for the best.
Yeah, and if you're really that worried about it, turn down just a little bit and let the other guy sound like shit. Spoken like a true bass player. Like, let those guys... Got two guitar players, they can fuck it up.
At the end of Descent, we had basically a whole year where every show was a different fill-in guitar player.
Oh, yeah.
Whether, like, we had, like, 3 different guys that were, like, jumping in and out of the band between Greg, Billy, and Justin. And it's just like, sure, all 3 of them pretty much knew the songs, but I was clearly the one that knew them the best because obviously I was in the band the whole time. And
we took Justin on the road with us too.
Yeah, I remember you guys took Justin. How did that go?
It was rough. We were on the road in North Carolina and Virginia when COVID happened.
Oh yeah, that's right. You guys were out like literally the weekend it was like really popping off last year, right?
Our 4-song EP came out the week before. Everyone's like, oh, it's so good. Boom, COVID.
So tell me about that. How is it like? Cause like I haven't been in a band for over a year now. How is it for a band that still exists in the midst of COVID, knowing you dropped a record like as the fucking shit splashed? Like, has it not ruined the flow of the band, but like really kind of put a stall on you guys, or are things still good?
So it absolutely did. For a couple months, I mean, when you put your heart, like, I don't write just like simple like hardcore lyrics. I try to put like some real shit into how I write, and those guys wear everything right on the stage. And it definitely hurt us for a couple months where like we had writer's block, we didn't have the enthusiasm, we were just like, man, this really sucks. Like, this was our start to like break through to play bigger shows and travel a lot and, you know, leave the East Coast, and it hit us hard. And it wasn't until like 3 months ago we had like 7 songs written and we scrapped them all, and we're like, yo, this isn't what, yeah, we're like, this isn't what we want to do. This is bad. We have to do this follow-up EP, because Life was the first part of a full length. We did it in 2 separate sections as one congruent thought.
Right.
On some weird cursive art school shit. But
well, no, I mean, I appreciate that idea, because I feel like bands these days don't do enough of that. Where
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, they just throw it together with no real thought.
I'm not going to half-ass anything. If I am going to do something, there's a fine line between music being art and being therapy, and if you don't tote both sides of that line, you're not really doing it for the right reasons. I don't have an ego. I don't want clout. I don't want more friends. I just want to write what I enjoy and what makes me feel better after every show, where I feel I left it all out there and other people feel that. I don't care if you even like my band, but if you watch us and you see how much we put into it, that's all I care about.
I support that 100%.
Yeah, I'm with that too.
But like, I've never personally done a band with the intention of like blowing it up. I've done it because I just feel something about the music that I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if I was going to do a band that blew up, I would just do pop punk all day and sing about songs from
Yeah, man, that would be the way to do it.
It's been the last few months, probably the last like 3 months, where our new drummer, Phil, I've been friends with him since we were kids. His dad and my grandfather were friends. I found that out 5 years into our relationship.
Oh, wow.
BMOC, our bass player, is an amazing guitar player and is just stupid creative. So eventually this spark just happened, like, hey, we're either going to do this or we're going to walk away and be pissed we walked away. So we just kind of put our nose down, and they, in the last 3 months, busted out 6 new songs plus 3 other ones that they're just working on. So we have enough right now to finish what we're going to do, plus a split next year.
Oh, that's cool.
That's good. I mean, I think more bands need to take that approach. Like, even if you have to like take it on the nose, take a step back, regroup, and start over, that's better than just giving up.
Yeah,
I'm not. Gave up. It didn't mean that much to you.
Keep playing shit that makes people dance. I want people to fucking think. And if it's not up to par to what we think our standards should be, then we're not going to fucking do it. If you do it half-assed, there's no reason to do it at all.
Yeah.
I agree.
On the flip side, I know a bunch of bands. My band is one of them that kind of hit the wall with that writer's block like you were talking about, because there was no motivation, there were no shows, there was nothing happening. Everything was just like, we don't know when we're going to play again. And we had some parts, and then we kind of lost momentum because we're all spread out, and then they were saying people can't travel, so we couldn't practice for months, and like it was just a whole big mess.
It happened to us too. I mean, Ethan, our guitar player, his job, he actually works in like a COVID unit.
Yeah.
Our bass player got COVID real bad, and then our bass player and drummer, both their wives are expecting right now.
Oh, wow.
So it was like super, super sketchy. I wasn't all about getting the vaccine. I wanted to wait it out, but I was sick of, I travel all the time, so I felt bad putting other people in a predicament of like possibly contracting it from me. So I actually somehow, I get my second shot tomorrow, but I did it for more the security of people's family and the band. I want people to feel comfortable, like regardless of how I feel about the shit. I mean, it's just some shit, you know?
Yeah, I got shot number 1 sometime in March, and I get shot number 2 next week, I think that COVID is real, obviously. I don't think that it's not real. I don't have some like weird thing going on with it or anything like that. I've been keeping myself safe this whole time, wearing masks, washing my hands, yada, 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 just following kind of the rules. And I'm not saying that you can't get it if you follow the rules, but you limit your exposure, you limit this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
And you know, I didn't leave my house basically for the last year, other than going to my recording studio. So I really haven't had, I haven't had any scares other than my son had an exposure at school, so we had to take him to get tested, but that was pretty much it. Otherwise, nobody else I know that's like really close to me that would have been in any proximity of me had it. So I haven't really had to even think about it other than, you know, stay in my fucking dumbass basement with no windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a few family and friends that have gotten it, but it's nobody that I've really seen for the most part. Like I was certainly not exposed, and I have thoughts on the vaccine, both positive and negative, because I know some people who are iffy about it, and I understand why. But then I think it's become another thing that divides people. That like now everybody's like, why aren't you getting the vaccine? And it's like, you know, different people look at it different ways, and I understand, because let's face it, it's not like our government is the most trustworthy organization. So, you know, but like I said, I see some people now kind of pressuring other people on it, and I think that's kind of weak too.
I think red or blue, if you're pressuring anyone to do anything or think a certain way, the whole point is to have freedom of thought. If you want to feel a certain way, that's perfectly fine, but do not tell me how to feel. My only issue with the vaccine is women getting it that don't have kids yet, that are going to eventually get pregnant. We have no idea how that's going to affect. I'm in that boat. I'm getting married this year, and we don't have kids yet, so I'm kind of worried about it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of question marks about the whole thing, but I just think, you know, I see positive things about the vaccine. I was very skeptical about it early on, thinking that like somebody might grow a third arm or something. We've talked about it on here. But
I love it, man. It's fun.
I mean, I'm getting
my 5G. It's starting to come in. I'm at 3G right now. Once I get this second one, I'll jump up to 5G and everything will be great.
Yeah, to get that reception up. But you know, people are very divisive about it now. People are like, oh, why aren't you doing your part? Like, slow down. Like, I understand why people are skeptical of it. I'm not necessarily against it, but the whole thing was rushed because these things usually take years.
Yeah.
So I understand people being very cautious about it.
Yeah, but in my head, if it makes people feel comfortable, I'm going to do it. I've put worse things in my body in the last 10 years. Whatever.
Well, that's another funny thing, because some of the people that are all like on their high horse about it are like putting all kinds of other shit in their body. And it's like, okay, how many lines did you sniff? But now suddenly you're worried about, oh, I don't know about this vaccine.
Yeah, like I get in like in a random, like, my dad is he went from Democrat to Republican, and he's like, you know, super Southern, super about patriotism, whatever. He's never once pushed how he feels on me. Right. And like, we'll have conversations. I mean, I only talk to him like once every couple months or whatever, but like, we'll have full on conversations, and he respects the fact that I feel differently than him. So I can respect how he feels about shit. It doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? Like, you have every right. There's only a few things that are not up for debate. Racism, homophobia, those things are not up for debate.
Right.
But if you want to feel a different way about it, whether it be political, about this virus, about raising kids, whatever it may be, I don't care. Just don't tell me that I can't do some shit.
Right. No, that's respectable. And that's more people should think that way. I think whether it's the vaccine or whether it's a lot of this other shit, I think so much of it is just divisive and just designed to turn people against each other, and it's just weak.
They always talk about like, you know, the Antichrist and all this other shit. Dude, social media is the Antichrist. It pits people each other all day, and that's going to be the end of. I mean, granted, during all this, some people showed their true colors, and I'm like, man, I really don't fuck with you. That's fine, but like, it's social media. It's social.
Well, we've had long discussions about it on here. In theory, it's getting more information out there, so it should make people smarter. But instead, it just connects people with like-minded people. So the dummies just stay in their dummy bubble, and it just turns into a mess from there. That's how you get QAnon.
Yeah. I had to actually just leave the gym I was going to because I found out the owner is like super into QAnon and like super anti-mask.
Oh.
And I had a conversation with his wife, and she was like, I don't care. I'm just not wearing the mask. That's other people's problems. And I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. When you risk other people, that's the issue. Like, for your own personal beliefs, like, you're not any better than anybody else.
Listen, I've had to leave. I think I was telling Len about this the other day. I've had to leave Facebook groups that are about Star Wars, because I'm a Star Wars nerd. I'm open about it. And like the Gina Carano shit was just so out of control and just constantly infesting like a couple of these groups that I was in, that they're just constantly fighting with each other. And I was like, fuck this, I'm out. Like,
that's not what you're there for.
I'm not here to sit here and talk politics with you dorks.
No, like, I want to talk about how much the original Ewok costume was. I don't want to talk about the Republican.
I want to talk about how much the sequels suck and how Jar Jar was an asshole. Like, I don't want to talk about fucking. I don't want to talk about Republican bullshit. It's a fucking Star Wars group. For Christ's
You're a
sake.
super big Star Wars nerd. Did you watch the Clone Wars cartoon?
I did not, and I regret it. I regret it just because the Mandalorian got so deep into it. And now I've been meaning to go back, but I keep getting distracted because there's so much on. And now I have less time because I'm in the office a couple of days a week. I'm not there every day. But there's so much. There's so much TV going on right now. Like I spent all of Friday just watching different the Real World Reunion and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then I made the mistake of starting to get into The Handmaid's Tale, and like I'm just like, oh fuck, my head's gonna explode.
There's so much shit. I've been taking out an hour every night to read comic books just to get away from TV.
That's a solid move.
I've been buying comic books here and there, and I got some stuff, and I started reading one today, and it just blew my mind because I knew what it was about, and I was like, oh, it's cool, and the artwork is cool. Let me get it, and it's called Department of Truth.
Okay.
And I got a graphic novel that's the first 5 issues, and then I bought issue number 6 also, and it's basically the idea of like, what if a lot of the conspiracy theories that go around are real?
Okay.
You ever watch American Gods?
Yes. Neil Gaiman? Absolutely.
So you know how the idea of American Gods is like the gods get their power from people believing?
Yeah.
This is the same thing. It's like people believe in this stuff enough, and it's scary because if you look around at current events, like it's just fucked, and it dips heavy into that. But it's just the idea that like so many people believe in these things that they become true.
Okay.
So many people believe that the earth is flat that suddenly this guy will take you to the edge of the earth and show you that it's flat, even though it's
the Department of Truth, you said?
Yeah. Image Comics.
I'm rereading Sandman right now, Immortal Hulk, and the dude that did Why the Last Man did it. I'm a huge Swamp Thing nerd. I love Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Dude,
Len is already like, yo, would you guys lose me with this comic book bullshit?
Hey,
yeah, cool.
I support you guys having this conversation. I'm okay with being on the outs on this one. It's fine. Go for
it. But yeah, I find a lot of I write really depressing stuff and a lot of stuff about mental health. So I get real deep into comic books that have a mental health aspect to things and how people deal with problems, like whether it be like Swamp Thing and how he's like this understanding god of the green that loves everything, but he's pretty much the most powerful person in that universe. And then I go into stuff like Sandman where it's like not political, but like morals are always brought up in it, whether it be like killing serial killers or pedos or being in like a dream world and how it affects the living and just crazy weird psychological shit that if I could read more books I would have went to school for psychology.
Oh, I get it. I mean, I've always been a comic book dude. I've lost it a little bit in recent time, but I've started to get back into it more. I was always more of a Marvel guy, but the problem now is that Marvel has started doing what DC did, which is like every couple of years just rebooting shit and like retconning shit, and I'm just like, eh.
I stick with that DC Vertigo shit, like the Swamp Thing, the Animal Man, like that shit. The darker side of DC is what I fuck with.
Yeah, see, I was into some of that stuff and then kind of got out, and then I dabble here and there and like random stuff now. Like I haven't really read that, like that Department of Truth I read, and then I got some DC stuff like this recent, like weird death metal stuff that they've been doing, and like Deceased, which is basically like zombie DC.
Ordered it.
Yeah, I just got it. I ordered it like last week, and I haven't read it yet. But
I got a pre-order in the mail today of this thing called Scumbag, and the volume 1 is called Cocaine Gunslinger, and I was like, I'm in. I
heard about that. I haven't checked it out yet, but I did hear about it.
My buddy that's tattooing my back right now, Bobby Treffs, he's from Philly. He's like, you gotta read this, and he's one of those dudes I have super long conversations with all the time.
Yeah,
and I trust him, and he's like, dude, just read it. I was like, you don't even do drugs. He's like, it's just great. Just read it. I'm like, all right, I'm in. So I got it in the mail today, and it's on my pile of shit to read.
See, I was always an X-Men guy, and then I picked up some more recent X-Men comics, and they like retconned so much shit.
Yeah.
And made such a mess of it, like I just can't even get into it anymore. I'm just hoping that eventually when they put them with the Marvel movies that they'll do it right for once. Some of the X-Men movies weren't bad.
They weren't terrible, but there's lots of flaws in those storylines.
Oh, sure. I mean, they didn't completely blow it like Fantastic Four.
Listen, I love Fantastic Four, too. I just ordered where Thing and Hulk fight.
Yes.
Like, run. So I just ordered all that. The thing that always turned me off about Fantastic Four, I love the premise of it. I love the thought process of it. Hated the fucking movies, so no one's ever going to like them.
That's what I mean. They've never done the movies right.
To put it how big of a dork I am, I play competitively in Marvel Contest of Champions on my phone in a worldwide alliance where we're nationally ranked.
Oh, nationally ranked?
Yeah, my thumbs are awesome, dude. I got a big phone like you did. Swipe fast and tap the screen and it works.
Yeah, I never really played it because I knew, just like I don't play Star Wars games on my phone either because I know then my life is over.
Oh, I'm down like $1,000 this year in like upgrades. It's bad.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, because my son was telling me about it one time, and he was playing Contest of Champions, and he's like, "You got to play it. You got to play it." I'm like, "No, I'm not going to play it."
You're going to be addicted.
Yeah, because then I'm going to blow a whole bunch of money, and I'm going to sit there constantly playing it and doing nothing else with my life, and I already do that with video games anyway.
So I got smart with it. So I sports bet every day, but like a standard amount. So every time my FanDuel account gets over $100, I put it in my PayPal and I save it up. I'm on the same money that I put in over a year and a half ago. I've never put in any money.
Nice.
I'm smart about it. And every now and then some kind of deal will come up in Marvel Contest. I'm like, I got this money in my PayPal. It's free money. This works.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Dude, I got hit for $800 last week in Las Vegas, so I'm down a little bit right now.
Oof.
Yo, so let's talk about Vegas for a minute.
Sure.
Where did you stay?
We stayed at the Paris Hotel, one of our mutual friends from a Jersey hardcore band that was real big and super well renowned, has a lot of gambling credits, and got us free flights and free hotels.
So that's a win.
Nice.
Yeah. And we went and stayed at the Paris Hotel. We went to the Valley of Fire over in Nevada to go looking for snakes and stuff. We went to the middle of fucking nowhere, California, to literally look for rattlesnakes in the middle of a fucking desert. And then we went to the Grand Canyon, which I was very dumbfounded that there's no guardrails.
Oh, dude.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So I went to the that same location, or at least one of the rims of the Grand Canyon. I have a fear of heights. I have a really bad fear of heights. And, like, I'm walking up, and I look to my right, and there's literally just a deer standing right at the edge. And I'm like, yo, bro, don't jump in. Don't jump in. Like, you could jump in right now. God. And then I'm like, wait, you could kick me in.
Oh.
Like, you could run me in. Like, I would either have to fight a deer or jump in the fucking canyon. I was like, let me just slowly back away. Yo,
Oh.
that thing is so fucking deep. Like, if you see it online or on the TV or whatever, and you go, oh man, that's huge, it pales in comparison to seeing it in person.
Let
me do one. They built a skywalk.
God, dude, I know. I'll never do it.
Glass, and I
No
did
way.
it. And I was
No
nervous.
way.
And Kyle and my boy Brian jumped on it when we got on, and I was like, "What the
no.
fuck are you
Nope.
doing?"
No.
Because it's not
Absolutely
often I get scared over things. I was nervous.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, I don't blame
I
you.
mean, it was worth it to see it. It was cool. We got down to Arizona to go look for snakes too, and they're like, "Yeah, it snowed yesterday." I was like, "Fuck out of here!" I was like, "Are you fucking serious right now?" So we went all the way there.
Definitely did.
Yeah, but like it was 80 degrees here. It was fucking 58 degrees there.
Mm-hmm.
It was wild.
Yeah, I'm not good with high open spaces. I'm better at it now than I used to be, but like if you're talking some shit with like no railing, like.
Well, to further it, we go on the skywalk, and we hear a guy go, "Hey, this guy back here's got a weapon. We got to stop him." I was like, "Are you fucking serious?"
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Where'd Ben go?
I don't know. He'll pop back on in a second. Maybe his connection got weird.
Talk.
There he is.
It's
What did you do? Jump on the computer?
I had to reinstall Skype. And
Are you?
The background is great.
Yeah.
and so because I bought a new computer, so I don't even want to cut this out. Like you guys talking whatever when I jumped out, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah.
So I bought a new computer because the computer I was using here was the computer that I bought for the first year that I worked with Sonny on This Is Hardcore, and that was 2012. So I've been using that same computer for like 9 years between the studio and then I brought it home to my house to use.
Upgrade podcast.
Yeah. So then I was like, yo, this thing is fucking dying. And every time we would have like calls, me and Gary would be fighting with this thing just to get it to work. I couldn't print anything for shit. So I bought a new computer. But the whole week, basically, of getting this new computer has been me figuring out what do I have on the computer and do I not have on the computer that I fucking need. And when I got home, I'm like trying to transfer from Skype to Skype. And I'm like, yo, I don't even have Skype on this fucking computer.
Oh, shit.
I got to download it. So then I had to download it. And then as I'm going through the thing, it just cut me off because it figured out I was logged in two places. It was like, yo, boom. And I was like, shit, I wasn't even ready for you to cut me off, but fuck it.
That's
whatever.
why I texted you. I got a laptop set up. I have no idea how to do technology.
Yeah.
None.
So for as much technology as I deal with, a lot of it leaves me dumbfounded. And like I can imagine a guy like my dad, he's 86, and I hand him my phone.
Oh no.
Backstory. My dad is 86. He's going through dementia. So he's hazy on a lot of stuff half the time, and I hand him my phone and I'm showing him pictures and he's like, yo, that looks so clear. And I'm like, yeah, it looks awesome, right? And he's like, yeah. And then he was like, I want to get one of these. How much does that cost? And I was like, oh, it's like $1,500 if you want to buy one outright. And he looked at me like I had 6 heads. He could not imagine that this small thing in his hand would cost like. So I saw the deed to his house. He bought his house in 52 or 53. Same house, and he's lived there the whole time. And he paid like $4,000 for it. So this phone is like 1/3 the cost of the house he lives in. And he's like, man. I can, like, you're carrying this around with you? And I'm like, yeah, it's like in my pocket, and I just do all the stuff with it. It's more powerful than any computer I owned up until like maybe 10 years ago. Like,
I spent $4,000 on steak dinners in the last year.
Yeah, I love steak dinners.
Yeah. They're terrible, but yeah.
No, you got to eat. So that's the thing with steak dinner, and it's just like pizza. You got to eat it the time that you get it. There are some meals that you can reheat and it'll be okay, but there are some things you got to eat right then and there, and if you don't finish it, throw it out. And steak dinner is one of them. Unless you're making steak and eggs the next morning with leftover steak.
I'm making steak and eggs tomorrow. Thanks for reminding me.
You know what else is like that?
What?
White Castle.
Ever heat up White Castle. Ever.
Those frozen shits that you get in the supermarket, not the same.
No, I can taste the disgust of the onions on it. Like, you're just hating yourself. You're heating it up. You're like, what do I do? Work at a fucking hospital at this point? Like,
listen, it's better than a 7-Eleven hot dog.
Wait. No, stop it. Bullshit. I eat 7-Eleven hot dogs like 3 times a week. Yo,
look at
a little roller.
Oh my god. Do you hate yourself?
Yes, I do.
Oh my god.
Greatly.
I'm a burger bite guy. I don't like the hot dogs. I'm a burger bite guy.
I don't like the burger bites. They don't taste like burger
I
at
don't
all.
know. All that, I mean, maybe I'm going to the wrong 7-Elevens, but like, you know, those fucking hot dogs are like gray, bro.
Not the one at the spot.
I don't know.
Great.
Maybe I'm going to the wrong places, man.
Yo, I
don't know why you guys are doing that when you got like fucking Wawa.
Wait, what do I got?
My wife worked at Wawa for 6 years. I'm over Wawa.
I don't really like Wawa. I prefer Sheetz.
I mean, Sheetz is harder to find depending on where you go.
All right, so Gary, hear me out.
I've only gone to Sheetz like 3 times in my life, not for lack of trying.
But all 3 times were the best time of your life.
But like, I've seen plenty of Wawas, but I've rarely seen Sheetz.
Well, there's an embargo on Sheetz crossing a certain border, like a physical border. So like, there are spots right outside of Reading where Sheetz and Wawa kind of are not too far apart, but after Reading, you will not find a Wawa, and after Reading, you will not find a Sheetz in this direction. They just don't exist, because
the last time
agreed to not kill each other's presence.
Yeah, the last time I had Sheetz was like when I went to Tsunami Fest.
Yep.
Good reason to have Sheetz.
And like before that, it had been a long ass time.
So, do you know random Bojangles in Reading too?
There's a random Bojangles in Reading?
Really?
If you make a right out of the Sheetz, like you're going over towards Burger King, there's a Bojangles.
Huh. Interesting.
I've driven a lot of drunk people around Reading before, so I mean, I find some stuff.
So let me tell you, Gary, why I don't really give a shit about Wawa.
Tell me.
In 1978, Wawa moved out of Ewing Township. I've lived in Ewing Township my whole life. There was a Wawa right next door to the McDonald's that still exists in Ewing. If you drive by and you look at the building, you're like, oh, that was a Wawa. But they moved out, and they never moved back until 2 years ago. They reopened a new Wawa like a mile from the studio, and that was the first Wawa that was in this town in over almost 40 years, basically. So, for me, if I wanted Wawa, I had to go to, like, Hamilton, which is all the way over across town, and I didn't have a car until I was 17 or 18. I've been going to fucking 7-Eleven since I was 10. Like, I could ride my bike to the fucking Sev. So, I went to 7-Eleven, and that's why I don't really have, like, that personal connection with Wawa. I think the food tastes fucking garbage anyway.
So the bottom line is you're still mad.
Yeah, I'm super mad. Like,
I mean, I have a Wawa pillowcase.
Well, you live in Pennsylvania, so that like is the at least Eastern Pennsylvania is like where Wawa exists.
Oh yeah,
you can find a Wawa on every fucking corner.
Wawa University, which is a real fucking thing, is in Westchester.
Okay, yeah, just south of Philly, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know there's a Wawa University. I knew there was a McDonald's University. Mm-hmm. We passed it in Chicago.
Like, what do you do at a university for these places? You learn about
formulate chicken.
Well, the McDonald's one, that's where they do the training shit. That, and they do like test kitchen shit too.
So, I went to McDonald's earlier for lunch, and I had what I would argue was the worst fucking drive-through experience. Because now they got these people.
That's saying something when you're talking about McDonald's.
Yeah. So my McDonald's has a guy that just stands in the parking lot with like a a scanner and a credit card reader, and I'm like, you could be anyone out here, but he's doing the order, and so you don't even have to talk to somebody in the fucking box of hell. Like, he actually takes your order, and then you can pay him right there on the spot.
Can I ask you a question? How much does that dude hate his life?
I hope he hates it more than I hate my own life, because that would be.
Can you imagine you're the guy standing in the parking the parking lot by the drive-through of McDonald's? Like, that's.
I don't even want to think about it.
Oh.
You know why they're doing that though? They do it because Chick-fil-A
does it,
and they're
really?
And they're so quick. Yeah.
Wow.
My food was not right.
I don't eat Chick-fil-A anymore for like moral reasons, but like when I did, I never got a fucked up order from them, ever. It was always right.
I'll say this: Chick-fil-A, all the employees are like super stupidly nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like as a New Yorker, it kind of bothers me.
Me too. Me too. I'm like, let me get 12 sauces. They're like, yeah, no problem. Like, you sure you don't want money for that?
Like, oh, my pleasure. Like, I'm from the Bronx. Like, we don't. My pleasure.
Yeah, you want to go fuck yourself. Here's your sandwich.
Yeah, like, what the fuck else do you want? You want another fucking sandwich?
So
yeah,
the Sonic
I know you said
by my
Coke,
house,
but I gave you a Dr. Pepper, and I don't give a fuck.
the Sonic by my house, you would love the Sonic by my house, because like you pull up and you start ordering, and after every single thing you order, is that it? Is that it? Like, they want you to leave, and I'm like, like,
yo, I want a cherry limeade and more.
I mean, honestly, I'm only going there for a cherry limeade anyway, but sometimes I have to like order a little something else on the fucking menu. And it's always just like I'm literally in a fight with the person behind the fucking counter just to order my food. Like, all I'm doing is trying to order.
So you got that, but then we also had, and Cody will like this, since he's a gambling guy, you know, the late night drive-through at White Castle is like gambling, because you may order something, but you never know what you're actually going to get. You better check that bag before you leave.
I will say this. Out of all of my White Castle experiences, which there's a lot, when I was in Detroit in is it June or July? So we're in COVID. Fuck it. It is what it is. We went there and I was like, let me get $100 in burgers. And they were like, what do you mean? I was like, let me get a bunch of Crave cases. Whatever. We got a whole house full of people. Everyone's drunk except one other person. Like, whatever. Let me get it. Dude, they gave us 2 full bags of just sauces, fries, all kinds of shit. The big lady at the like, look at your cute ass. I'm like, hell yeah, what kind of burgers? And they gave us so much food, we didn't even eat it all.
What did you get? You got a couple of Crave cases?
Got a couple Crave cases, got a couple of Impossible burgers, got like 14 fries.
Because you know about the Crave crate, right?
Nah, inform me.
Len, you know about the Crave crate?
No, I don't fuck with fucking White Castle, bro. I told you, I'm trying to keep my anus
Crave crate
in my body.
It's a real thing. You can look online and find a picture of it. A Crave crate is 100 burgers, bro.
I'm in.
100 burgers in a big fucking cube of a box.
No.
I just went to In-N-Out last week when I was in Vegas.
Oh, shit.
And I wasn't hungry. I had a flight in 2 hours. Kyle was already waiting for me at the airport. I was like, let me get 2 4x4s. Just to say I ate. As Len will contest, I have a very finicky stomach.
Oh, God.
A lot. Usually before every show, it doesn't matter what I do. I just throw up. That's how I get my beautiful singing voice. I as soon as I got to the airport, and I was like, all right, let's go, Kyle. And he's like, we have a 4.5-hour flight. I was like, I'm aware. We're good, dude. Don't even worry about it.
Oh, dude, didn't you and I just talk about this? Like, doing that shit right before a flight is, oh, it's danger.
All right, so let me take you back to Texas. I know we talked about Texas a little earlier, but we went out to this place to eat. I have pictures in my phone somewhere, and like it was like a real Mexican restaurant. So we were in McAllen, Texas, which is legitimately Mexico. Like, you can see Mexico from the place that we were standing at the restaurant.
We got Border Patrol on the way out of there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're at this restaurant, and the people who are running the restaurant barely speak English. And that's not a problem for me, but, like, you know, ordering is tough. Cody turns to the lady and he's just basically like, let me have this side of the menu. And then like these 3 things off this side of the menu. And I'm like, bro, are you sure? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm ready. And he proceeds to eat almost everything that hit the table. And I'm like, for real, bro? And like, wow. I ate a normal amount of food and I was stuffed. I can only imagine how stuffed you felt. It starts raining, so we're driving to this show.
That's not just raining. It's like, a fucking monsoon.
It's a monsoon. Like it's a tsunami.
And I got in my boxers because I was scared we were going to crash, and if I died, I wanted to be in my boxers.
So we pull up to the show, and like it's at some like random dance bar club thing, but it's cleared out. Like there's nothing in it, and it's ready for like bands to play. And I see Cody walk off into the distance in the rain, and I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? And then all of a sudden, the rain stops, and I see Cody walk into the middle of the street, and then the rain starts, and he's just puking everywhere, like a fire hose of puke all over the street. And I'm like, wow, I'm glad he didn't do that in the fucking van, because that would have been.
Yeah, my voice sounded great. My voice was on point. It was great.
And then he comes wandering back. I'm like, yo, Cody, you all right? He's like, yeah, I feel fine. Let's do it. And I'm like, all right, buddy. God. Wow. So that's normal for you?
Yeah, I have always had stomach issues, like ulcers and shit, my whole life.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why too. But I'll like eat like a normal person whenever I'm at home, and then I'll go on the road and I'll be like, look at all this shit that I can try. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, my stomach's not as big as I thought it was. And then I'll just proceed to eat mass amounts of food. And when nerves get to me, I throw up and I'm good. I don't know why. Just part of it.
So I've literally never thrown up once in my life. Not even one time.
Out, dude. You don't know life until you throw up mac and cheese.
I make such good mac and cheese that I don't want to throw it up.
Hey,
Christine makes smoked Gouda mac and cheese, and it's the only thing where I'm like, if I keep eating, I know it's going to happen. It's going to be okay.
I make black people mac and cheese. Like,
so you bake?
I make the real shit.
Not crumbs. I know.
Yeah, not that smoked Gouda mac and cheese. Like, if she put that in front of me, I'd eat the shit out of it. That's not what I'm saying here. But you know what I'm talking about when I say I make black people mac and cheese.
So what you don't know is I'm marrying into a family where my soon-to-be mother-in-law is from. Christine, where's she from? She's asleep. She's West Indian.
Okay.
Hold on. She was born here, but all right, whatever. You're fucking up the whole context of the conversation. She's an island somewhere, and she's of your complexion.
Okay.
Lived in Jamaica for years. I'll go over there, and her dad's like a super just white guy. Works for like USPS, just a white dude. I'll go over there, and she's I made this like white fish dip. I made pork hock fucking collard greens. I'm like, I love you. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. So we'll go over there and like, dude, she makes real black eyed peas, real mac and cheese. She makes the best food I've ever fucking had.
Holy shit.
Hey, then you're living the life, and you know what I'm talking about when I say black people mac and cheese. It's a totally different.
We'll fight. I'll be like, I can't leave you because I'm going to lose G. I can't do it.
That's the only reason you're still here.
Oh, man.
I think the only reason I'm still here is because of Christine, because no one else can deal with my fucking mental problems.
Oh, man. Yeah, you gotta... I don't know, man. I can't eat like crazy before I play.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I told this story before, but it's a great story. The first time we went to Europe in 2004, we played in Germany, and 50 Caliber was playing with us, and Billy went and took a ride with us to McDonald's in Germany. Billy was drummer of 50 Caliber, and he ends up eating like 2 Big Macs and a 20-piece. And we went back to the show, and I watched him in the back as he's warming up. He's basically sitting there trying to hold it in, and I'm watching him turn like this just color green.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and he's like, oh, just I'm trying to not shit my pants. and we're just looking at, and we're thinking like, dude, you're going to play and you're going to shit yourself on stage. And amazingly, he did not. But I think he threw up before. If he didn't throw up before, he definitely threw up right after. But like 2 Big Macs and 20-piece, like, dude.
Yo, what are you even thinking?
Like, ooh, man.
You're not thinking at that point. I'm so nervous when we do get to go to Europe because, like, I have a ton of friends over there that like to eat. I'm the kind of person where it's like, if I go there, not on a vacation, I know there's limited time between shows.
Yeah.
And someone's like, hey, I'm going to take you to this Indian food spot. I'm going to be like, fuck yeah, bruv. How much money do I got to spend in order to feel like I don't want to live anymore? And then I'm going to fucking play a show and hate my life.
Well, listen, I'll give you a tip, because we learned this just from friends of ours that had gone before, but always make sure, like if you got somebody setting up the tour the right way, make sure that they put on there that you get real food, because a lot of these places will just do some vegan shit, and it's like, I could tell you're a meat-eating motherfucker like we are.
Yep.
So, like, they do some vegetable bullshit, and you're going to be like, nah, son.
Now, my whole thing is, too, I
right.
like food, but if your stomach's not used to that, that's bad all day.
Yeah, but when you're out for 2 weeks, like, imagine 2 weeks of just that. Because that's what they do a lot over there. Because, and it's just like, no. But we also had the other problem when we were in France, where the promoter got us McDonald's, which whatever, but like he hands like, now you see me, and you know everybody in my band is like, you know, we're not lightweights, you know what I'm saying? So when they brought it back and they hand like each of us 1 cheeseburger and a small fries,
you're like, oh, whoa, like this is a snack, bitch. Where's the rest of the food?
Yeah, we just looked at the dude, and I think the dude got scared because he was like, oh, I have made a grave mistake. Because we were like, yo, what is this? Like, is somebody bringing like the other half? Or more than half? Like, is somebody bringing the other 3/4? And he had to go and send somebody out again because they were out of chicken. It's like, well, okay, they're out of chicken, but like, do we look like Happy Meal dudes to you?
Where the fuck's the rest of the cow?
Yeah, like maybe some of the, I mean, you know, not to knock them, but you know, the people in France are usually a little smaller. Like I think that night was the night we sold out of medium shirts, but
well, because we're American sized.
Yeah, exactly. So they were like, oh, okay, and they had to go get more because we were just not having it. We were like, nah, this ain't gonna work.
Nah, I'm 310. If you hand me a single cheeseburger, I've gotten fights over a lot less. I mean, like that's not even, you know,
that's not even a snack. Like that's what you use to clean your teeth.
Yo, people give me shit all the time because like I'll eat mass amounts of eggs. I don't know why. I just
eggs are delicious.
Dude, I eat a lot of them. And everyone's like, I'll go to make a snack, and people are like, what do you make? I'm like, oh, I'm making a burrito real quick. Like, that's not a fucking snack. I'm like, listen, dude, you fit into a schmedium shirt. I don't want to fucking know what your snack is. I got gains.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I've been trying to pull back recently on just like eating like an absolute asshole. It's not really working, but I've been trying. The key word is trying. But still, like I ended up at Maruka's Pizza down in Seaside. I guess it was yesterday, and I'm like sitting there in front of this 18-inch pizza, and I'm like, well, I can't take pizza home because it just don't travel well. So I guess I'm eating half a pizza right now. And half of an 18-inch pizza, that's like most of what a normal pizza is. But I was like, you know what, I got to go in on this. And it was fucking delicious. People don't understand when you're big, a snack is not like some small, like the tiniest thing that you can find. That is not a snack. That's like a nibble. Yeah. I need like a full on meal for it to be a snack.
Need some real shit.
Even when I like eat healthy, which I'm doing right now, I'll have to eat every 2 hours. And if it's like a protein bar, best bet I'm gonna have a protein shake with. I need something more than just some fucking granola in my mouth.
Because otherwise you're gonna be fucking super starving, and it's not even fucking worth it.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're not really hungry." I'm like, "Don't fucking tell me how to feel. I know how I'm hungry. I'm hungry."
I will say this. Another great story was first time we went to Puerto Rico. This is how you know how serious Puerto Rico is. Burger Kings are open 24 hours. So you got Sworn Enemy, Irate, Billy Club, and EGH all walking into a Burger King at like 3 a.m.
They were not prepared for you to show up.
You know how gangster fucking Puerto Rico is? They didn't even flinch.
Really?
Whole bunch of us big fucking sloppy, sweaty, tattooed motherfuckers walked in there at 3 a.m. and they were just like, it's just another night. But they probably threw everything they had in the fucking fryer.
They were like, fuck it. Just cook it all.
24-hour Burger King around the corner from me, and I'll pull up there even at like 1 in the morning just because I'm fucking hungry or a night shift or whatever. And there'll be a line wrapped around that bitch.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll be sitting there for 35, 40 minutes. Christine be like, where are you at? I'll be like, don't worry about where I am. It's cool. So that way she doesn't know I got it. About it.
I'll tell you that the Wendy's in my town stays open till about 4 in the morning. They don't stay open 24, but they're open till like 3 or 4 in the morning. But you pull up at like 1:30, 2 o'clock when the fucking the bars let out and shit. Yo, that place, the line is out on the main road.
Oh yeah,
and it's just like you're waiting and waiting and waiting. Like I'll just drive home at that point. That's how I end up at 7-Eleven eating fucking hot dogs off the fucking roller because it's fast.
Yeah, I have a Wendy's that's probably like a quarter mile from my house that is the same thing. Like they're open late, but even if you go there at like 8 o'clock,
just jam
any night. That drive-through is around the fucking building.
Well, did you try that pretzel burger they got with the smoked Gouda on it and shit?
No.
Yo, let's have a real serious talk, gentlemen.
Okay.
Dude, we go there one day. There's one next to the grocery store we shop at right over here in Levittown, next to your favorite cheesesteak place. That Wendy's right there.
Well, yeah, no, I know that Wendy's. I know that way. So you shop at Redner's?
Sometimes. And when I'm feeling fancy with a pinky out, I go to ShopRite, which is another Wendy's.
So, cool. All right, let me just say, Redner's is great because you could find me at Redner's at 3 in the morning on a random night because they're the only grocery store that's open 24/7. So, like, there are times where I'm in your hood getting groceries because I need to cook something at 2:30 in the morning.
Sometimes, though, so there's a better Wendy's over by the Chamonix Mall. They make everything fresh and make you wait there for it. They walk it out to you.
I knew that Wendy's.
We go there the one day, and I see this thing with like beer cheese and smoked Gouda.
Okay.
All right. What does that come with? They're like, oh, it's a single. I'm like, no, it's not. Put it on triple. I end up eating it. I ate it 3 times that fucking week.
Oh, man.
And Christine, my lady, is super about, eating healthier. She went with me all 3 fucking times.
And had it too.
Something about that. Well, she's a Dave's Big and Juicy fan. I guess she likes guys named Dave. Whatever. But
okay, whatever.
That bacon cheeseburger on the pretzel rollage, and they got this shit called Sawsum sauce.
Okay, awesome sauce. Sawsome sauce.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
That throat lubrication from the Sawsum sauce with the burger. Y'all gotta try that. It's so good.
Oh man.
So you're talking about the Wendy's that's like on the other side of Route 1 that's by Neshaminy by like the Chipotle and the Red Robin, right?
That one is the best Wendy's in our area. Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So that one's right by the other Steve's.
Yes.
Because it's like maybe 2 miles down the road.
Yep.
So I took Muttley to Steve's. He came down last year and we picked out at Steve's. It was fucking delicious.
Yes, it was.
To our listeners, if you haven't been to Steve's, you haven't had a cheesesteak yet, you've had something posing as one.
Agreed.
So
I believe we'll be making that trip again
Well, we'll make sure that Cody shows
fairly
up.
soon.
So if you do this, I just had this is like a little while ago. I had Hensel come in here from Ohio, from Mushmouth, and he's trying cheesesteaks. Loves cheesesteaks. There's a spot by me that's literally I could fucking shoot a frozen paintball to it, pretty far. But they have homemade pretzel rolls, and they have a thing called the Fireman, which is a pepper jack mac and cheesesteak on a pretzel roll.
No. I mean, all right. So that just sounds like
I'm having weird feelings right now.
So really, that just sounds like I'm gonna shit my pants. Like literally, that's all that sounds like.
They have other things there too. They have a jerk chicken cheesesteak with a cream cheese spread.
Okay. Okay.
That's
I
like
can get down with that.
menu. They have pulled pork fries and shit. Like their shit's good. It's called Jay's Joint. And
I hope my girlfriend doesn't listen to this episode because we'll be down there immediately.
I hate to tell you, I know your girlfriend. I'm gonna text her.
She's gonna be like,
shoot her a message and be like, Jay's Joint.
She's gonna be like, oh my god, we gotta go.
So, Cody, we were going out somewhere, and we ended up at some spot that's like what I would consider a frozen paintball distance from your house. Is it that same spot? Is that the spot we're talking about? Like, I didn't go in. I was just sitting in the parking lot, but it was like a kind of a dinery thing across the street from like a big empty parking lot. Is that the spot?
Not the cheesesteak place I'm talking about. This is like tucked back literally by houses. And it looks like a little tiny fucking house.
Okay. Because for me, your area has always been signified by the airplane that no longer exists, but there used to be...
Yep.
Yeah, there used to be an airplane on top of a building. Like, literally, and you could eat in the airplane.
What?
So, yeah.
Yep.
It was attached. They had a walkway. Like, it was attached to the fucking building. And I would argue it wasn't like a 757 or anything, but it was like a reasonable size
plane.
And you could eat in the fucking airplane. And I always wanted to eat in the airplane, and then one day the airplane was gone.
Oh,
so they stopped doing food in it when I was a kid. Before they turned it down, they did arts and crafts and shit in it, which was weird.
Okay.
But that gas station that's across the street still has a little airplane.
Really?
Top of their gas station sign, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
wild. It was always like a treat as a kid to drive by the fucking airplane and be like, "Mom, can we go?" And she's like, "No, we got things to do."
Yeah,
my
that sounds...
spot's real good for food, man. There's like a Thai noodle fusion place right here. I'm 4 seconds away from Street Road, which is literally a road of fucking food.
This is true. This is true.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So Len, we were talking about doing the Landmine Studios barbecue this summer.
Mm-hmm.
Once things get kind of back to normal, we may have to do like the upgrade food tour.
Yeah, I'm down. I like to eat.
I will be a guest.
We may have to wear diapers. Oh my god.
So the worst thing that ever happened to me was when my old band Breath of Silence was on tour. We ate bomb burritos all the way across the U.S. So basically, there was anything. It was like they were $1 in every fucking
God.
gas station. So every time we stopped at the gas stations, the whole van would just buy bomb burritos, hit them in the nuke, and just keep on rolling.
Oh.
By the time I got to California, I couldn't even find a bathroom fast enough because it had just built up in my system. I was trying to save money, so it was an easy way to eat.
This is why you don't fuck with White Castle. Your butthole can't take it.
Yeah, I can't take it.
Oh, dude,
I can't take it now.
That van must have smelled like hate.
It just... Yo, alright, so let me tell you about this van. We bought the van from the number 12 Looks Like You.
Okay.
They had toured the U.S. in it 4 or 5 times. The only 2 windows in the entire van that went down are the 2 front windows.
Oh.
None of the rest of the windows in the van worked.
Oh.
Is it the van that I toured with you guys in?
No, different van. Yeah, that one was just as bad, but not. But that was the Dillinger Escape Plan van, because we would borrow it from Chris from Nora.
Mm.
So we would just rent the van from him. But my old band had actually bought a van from the number 12 Looks Like You, and I think we paid like $800 for this van. The door, if you opened it wrong, literally fell off the side of the sliding door would just fall off.
Oh
So
my
we're in
God.
California and we're it's like 8 in the morning and we're driving through Death Valley. It's 110 degrees at 8 in the morning. We ended up, the van's overheating, we're overheating. We ended up taking the doghouse off the van, off the motor inside the van so that the hot lava air could come through the van, and then we opened the side sliding door and like tied it so that it wouldn't fall off.
Wow.
And we drove for like 150 miles with the side door open in the van, full of equipment, hot air just bursting through the fucking van, and we made it up to fucking Sacramento to play with the Hoods and Shattered Realm. And that was like 2005. And I've never done anything more stupid in my entire life.
Oh my God.
That just I can smell that whole story you just said.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. I think CDC played with us that night too.
Hot air
It was
and
like a
burrito
flash
parts.
Ugh.
Wow.
Yeah. So bomb burritos, no go. And you can't find them. They don't exist anymore. They've gone by the wayside because probably they just made people bomb their pants out.
Yeah. They probably got sued,
Too many shits.
liquefying people's innards.
That's rough.
I ate 4 of them and my asshole fell out.
Yeah, but now you have OnlyFans. People will pay for that.
Dude. All right.
Only farts?
Yeah.
I don't want to go down the fucking rabbit hole of OnlyFans necessarily, but
Yeah.
if you're on Twitter at all,
It's there.
everyone, I feel like 75 to 80% of girls across the world have an OnlyFans at this point. There is no way that you can click a profile anywhere and not find an OnlyFans link. I'm like, do you all have OnlyFans? Is that where we're at now?
I think so.
Listen, I support sex workers. I will pay $5 to know what you look like.
Please don't take this as a rail against sex workers. I think it's great, but I'm just surprised at how many women have really jumped on this boat.
It's really insane how deep that shit has gotten now, which means that it's only a matter of time before they start doing something stupid to fuck all those people out of their money.
Yeah.
Like suddenly they're going to start restrictions or...
It's okay.
Wait, you almost bought what?
There's this chick from England called Belle Define.
Okay.
And she was selling her bathwater. And I literally just wanted it because I thought it was the coolest idea. And then I went to buy it. And it was like $38 plus shipping. And I was like, dude, I can just really grab a bathwater and put her name on it and be fine.
It would be the same thing.
Yeah, I mean...
What are you going to do with it?
I was going to put it on a shelf next to all my dead animals I collect. Yeah, I collect like wet specimens, like shit in jars and like weird like animals and shit like that. I just wanted to put it up there. I don't know. I just fucking wanted it.
Hey, I support it.
I didn't buy any bathwater. Don't worry. Don't listen to this conversation.
Oh my
No
God.
one bathwater.
I'm going to send her a link to this damn conversation later.
What was it about? She's right there. She's in the other room. She can hear us. I don't hide nothing.
Yeah, I mean, she would have seen the bathwater.
Oh, it would have been a great conversation piece. Absolutely.
My only concern with all of the people that are jumping on this is that at some point, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, you might end up going to get a real job.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And what you think is a good plan right now might not be a good plan long term. And I'm not discouraging people from doing whatever they choose to do, but I really hope that each and every person really thinks about the next step, because it's like tattoo artists that get hand, neck, face tattoos, etc., that aren't coverable. If you're going to be a tattoo artist for the rest of your life, it means nothing. Like, please go ahead and do it. But when if you decide you want to go into corporate life, you have to then take measures to be quote unquote acceptable to people. And I wonder if enough people jumped on doing this OnlyFans thing that it's going to be a non-issue, because so many people have done it. You can't just. I
do wonder about that. I do wonder about that because it seems like. I mean, I don't want to get on some old man rant here.
No, I'm not trying to be old man. I'm just like
about those millennials. But it seems like the younger generation is kind of chill about a lot of that shit, which is weird. And I wonder how that's going to progress in like another 5-10 years. Because the thing you got to remember,
I hope it means absolutely nothing, and that it will not hold anybody back, because I don't think it should.
Well, the thing you got to remember, like with the face tattoo thing, although you can go and get them removed and stuff, which costs a lot of money and hurts from what I hear, but you know, with this stuff, even though people will go and put these things up and saying you can't download my content, this and that, bullshit, because they got all kinds of things to help you download these things, just like everything else, because hackers know how to do.
That's what they do.
If I want to see a girl naked and I don't want to pay for their Patreon or fucking OnlyFans or whatever, right, I could probably hop on Reddit and find it.
Yeah, listen, the bottom line is, whether you like it or not, the shit is like the NWO. It's for life. Yeah. The shit is out there. It's going to be out there. Somebody somewhere is putting that shit up on Reddit or some shit. And as much as you might think you have it locked down, you don't.
All right, so
you can't be shocked when somebody stumbles upon you with your titties out. And like Len said, listen, we fully support it. Like, do your thing.
Yeah.
If you enjoy it, go for it. But just be prepared, because 10 years from now, when you got 2 kids, or 15 years from now, when you got a couple of kids that are like in school and old enough to know about this shit, and then all of a sudden some kid is like, hey, isn't that your mom?
Yeah.
You know, like, this is what happens. And you got to just be prepared for it. And like I said, I've seen some people just not give a shit and have that kind of attitude about it, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like spooked because like, oh, the guy down the street recognized me, and that's now like, it's only going to get worse. Like, you know, suddenly your kids are like, hey, that's your mom. Like,
well, my thing is, speaking to the point that you just made about people finding you, etc., everybody wants to do celebrity shit until it's time to do celebrity shit. And some of that is having people find you because they found you attractive. It's the same thing. Like, people used to stalk Jodie Foster because they loved Jodie fucking Foster. Now you're Jodie Foster in this fucking situation. You got yourself on the internet and you're promoting yourself, and people will figure out who you are, where you live, and find you. Now it's up to you to do. I mean, it's shitty. I don't think that anybody should be stalking or assaulting or like any of that shit. It's fucking gross.
But you know that dudes have no fucking chill whatsoever.
No chill at all.
All these, especially like neckbeard dudes, they're like, oh, I can't. The girl from OnlyFans is shopping in my supermarket. I have to talk to her. I think we'll get along great.
I'm gonna keep it real. If I bought your OnlyFans and I see you, I'm gonna be like, you look great, and walk away.
But see, that's not.
See, that's
I don't
fine.
think that's the thing that they have the problem with.
It's
like
the
if somebody was just like, yo, saw you on the internet, looking good, bought your OnlyFans, have a good day, and you walk a fucking way. Like, that's not. Maybe that's like a little creepy, but that's not like, yo, let me get your number. I'm following you to your car. I know where you live now. Like,
I just want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But I'm like that. Listen, I've I used to work in places where known people would shop and shit, and like people are like that. We're talking about OnlyFans girls, but like people are like that with all kinds of people, like just punishers.
Yeah.
But I was never like that, and I always made it a point not to be like that. Like, mean people, like, I might have a conversation here and there. I've talked about it before, like when I used to work at Tower Records, and like talking to Billy Corgan about wrestling and shit, and like talking to Spike Lee and talking to all these other people that used to shop in Tower, like, you know, say hi, say a little something,
Keep it moving.
You know, keep it moving. If you end up having a little conversation like I did with a couple of those guys, that's cool. But like, I'm not trying to sit there and fucking follow them around and fucking punish them and try to be their best friend. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you're Trent Reznor. Like, do you want my band's demo? Like, no. So
I have a question for you. You keep dipping on wrestling. Can we just discuss how
it's not a
dude, I don't dip on wrestling. Like, I'm all fucking in on pro wrestling. We don't talk about it as much because Len is not up on the current, but like...
No, I'm not up on the current either. But what's that, Beyond the Ring or whatever it is?
Oh, Beyond the...
that shit was
Dark
tight.
Side of the... Well, wait.
Dark Side of the Ring.
Mat or Dark Side of the
Dark Side of the Ring. I've seen both of them. I have a personality.
I've seen both of them.
But Dark Side of the Ring has put me so far back into being a kid.
Oh,
like, the psychological thriller of that shit is just
so much good shit on there.
Fucking amazing.
And there's going to continue to be good
another
shit because... Yeah, there's another season coming that's going to be great because they talk about... There's a bunch of different things in the new season, and some of it is like more modern stuff, like Len, if you guys don't follow current stuff, you don't know about this, but there's a guy named Nick Gage who's in GCW now. We've talked about GCW, Slack and shit. Yeah. So Nick Gage, Len, years ago had a real bad pill problem, and while he was a known pro wrestler, robbed the fucking bank.
Oh, wow.
No mask, no nothing. And this is going to be on the next season. He robbed a mask. They got him full blast, full face camera. It was all over the news.
When they got him, he literally was like, yeah, it's me. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, he had to be because, the camera, he was just like, bow.
Yeah.
And that's going to be an episode of Dark Side of the Ring coming up.
The shit is just fucking mind-blowing, the shit they touch on in there. And, like, my grandfather, weird side story, my grandfather wrestled a bear at Veterans Stadium where George the Animal Steel was the referee when he was in high school.
Oh, wow.
And my grandfather pinned a fucking bear.
Holy shit.
So I'm the smallest one of my family, and Gary, I've only met you a few times. I'm fucking 6'1", 310. My mom is bigger than the fuck I am.
Wow.
So I've always been in the wrestling when I was a kid, and like I had all these pictures of him wrestling this bear and this dude with this fucking weird green tongue. And then I got really into wrestling when I was a kid, and I kind of like fell out of it just because, you know, some people get real into drugs when they're a little older. That was me. It's okay. Yeah, pulled it back in.
Listen, a lot of people fall out of it because I did fall out of it in the 90s for a while, and then I jumped back in, and I jumped back in at the perfect time because I jumped back in when ECW was really picking up. So I saw some shit.
Yep.
I went some shit.
ECW when I was... Fuck, dude. I was young, and I had to leave. My godfather at the time, or my godmother's husband now, took me there, somehow let me in that bitch at the ECW arena. And then shit started getting crazy where there was like titties and Sandman came out.
Oh, yeah.
We got to go.
Wow.
And that's the extent of what I was allowed to see at ECW. I've been to a Tournament of Death. That shit was wild.
Oh, yeah.
But I like
ECW shit is fucking crazy.
So for our listeners, Cody, how old are you? Because me and Gary, I'm 40. I'll be 45 this year, and Gary, you're going to be like 47 or 48.
I'm 47 now, so I'm going to be 48 in October.
Christine, how old am I?
33.
Okay, so you're like a good full generation behind us. Like when it comes to some of that stuff. So when you were little when you went to see ECW. That's where I was going with that.
Wow.
Had to have been 1995, 96, maybe 97.
So you were like 6?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I started...
I watched the pay-per-view of Bam Bam Bigelow putting Taz through the ring in summer of 99.
Yeah.
That
was a little earlier. That was because I started getting back into it. I dipped out of wrestling in the 90s, and then 98, I started dating a girl who was into wrestling. And I was starting to dabble into it anyway, because I had moved back to the Bronx with my mother and my brother had the hot box, So we got all the pay-per-views for free. So I'm like, the good old days of the hot box.
Yo, the hot box was the shit.
I was just explaining to my girlfriend the days of the hot box.
Yo, I had two different ones over time because one of them became obsolete.
Yeah.
So I have a weird side note about ECW.
Go for it.
My mom was one of those people back in the day that would call on Kanye like a bill collector, and she had like a fake name. It was like Denise Rice and shit. That's not my mom's name, but she would like call or whatever. And she worked with this really, really big dude. Turns out he's Bam Bam Bigelow's cousin. I got to meet Bam Bam.
Nice.
When I was a kid. And then the first referee from CZW, that dude Brian with the red hair,
yes,
was my godfather's best friend. I got to watch him go through wrestling school, and I was never allowed to go to CZW.
Yeah, that's not that's not surprising.
Yeah, I had some like weird interactions being from, you know, our area, New York, New Jersey, PA. Some weird fucking Erie, Pennsylvania shit happens all the time throughout your life.
Yeah. Well, I always tell people like there will never be anything like ECW. Like Combat Zone was crazy, but ECW, like I used to go. I never saw ECW in Philly.
Okay.
I always went to the Elks Lodge in Queens, which they called the Madhouse.
Back and forth.
Which was a fucking madhouse. Mm-hmm. Because I saw, first of all, they way overpacked that place. Mm-hmm. And nobody cared. And I saw damn near riots up in that motherfucker.
Absolutely.
Like, I definitely saw, like, people don't understand. Like, you think you know about heel shit? Like, dude, I watched the Dudley Boys start fucking riots. Yep. Talking mad shit until people were jumping down from the balcony to go at them.
Was always a big Spike Dudley fan, just to throw it there.
Spike was cool.
Yeah.
But there's never going to be anything like what ECW was. And
isn't it crazy that Raven was the mastermind behind most of the plots and lines?
That dude supposedly has like a genius level IQ.
Yes.
And was offered like a head booker spot in WWF and passed on it.
Yeah.
So
there's a whole ECW documentary on YouTube that I used to randomly just watch when I would like crave wrestling and I didn't want to watch, you know, televised wrestling. And it's like fucking 2.5 hours long.
Oh yeah. There's a few of them. Because I forget which one I have. I have one on DVD. I think it's Forever Hardcore. But there's been at least like 3 of them. But I saw such crazy shit, and it's crazy how everything changed because like within a couple of months of each other, ECW and WCW both went out of business.
There will never be another New Jack either. New Jack was ECW.
No. I have an autographed copy of his book. I read it not too long ago, and it's just, I mean, that dude is just insane.
The mass transit incident, like you tried to kill somebody in front of people.
Well, that's one of the best episodes, Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, easily.
And dude, they skip so much because of time. Because listen, they could do a whole season about New Jack.
Mm-hmm.
But they skip around with a bunch of shit. But even just the stuff they talk about is just like mind blowing. That dude is wild.
Yo, I never talk wrestling with people either because people are so deep into it, and the only thing I really touch base on is like ECW back in that. That's what I know. So unless you're from like this area, really, like I got friends on the West Coast shit that are super about wrestling. It's like you didn't experience ECW when it was on fucking public access.
Oh no. But when it was on like 1 a.m. on like the MSG network here in the city, it was wild.
Dude, my grandfather would have me watch the bare knuckle like UFC fights when they first started and shit.
Yep.
And actually, that might explain why I'm the way I am. But yeah. But my family.
Listen, that was good shit too. Because
dude.
we've talked about it on here. Because listen, we're both MMA fans. I started watching UFC. It was like either the second or third UFC.
So this dude Eddie that I went to high school with is the person that actually introduced me to watching UFC. So we worked at an ice cream shop together, and he was always like semi-training random martial arts and like talking about it and practicing it in at work, etc. And he was like, "Yo, you should watch UFC. They just had UFC 1 and it was fucking crazy, whatever." And he's like, "Yo, come over to my house and watch UFC 2." And I'm like, I'm not coming over. And I think I went over for like number 3, and it was on. He had it on a hot box, and we ended up watching it, and it was cool.
That's how I first started watching it.
Channel 99, guys. Channel 99.
And you know what? I've never stopped watching it. I still watch it religiously now. It's definitely not the sport itself has come such a long way from where it was when we first started watching it. It was definitely more violent back when we were young, when there basically were no rules. Now there are a guaranteed set of rules, and everybody's kind of on an even playing field. They've all been training the same shit, and it's just like, who's better? It's like a chess match now, instead of like, you're playing checkers and this other guy brought a fucking bomb.
Well, when it started, it was a total free-for-all. And UFC 3 was the first one that I watched.
Yeah, and we started basically the same time.
Yeah, that was when Hoist Gracie fought Chemo.
Mm-hmm.
When Chemo came out on the cross?
Yep.
I remember.
Yeah.
I have stupid memory. It's fucked up.
Oh, well, see, I can't remember what I did yesterday, but I remember shit like this. Like, I remember watching this
yesterday.
I remember watching this with my brother on the hot box and just bugging the fuck out. And and with what you're talking about, Len, they changed because they had to. They had no choice.
Well, yeah, I mean,
because so many people were anti.
So much pressure to get rid of the sport as a whole. They had to adopt.
Well, I'm sure I told this story before. I had tickets. It wasn't UFC. There was another company that was going to run in an armory in Brooklyn. And this was when I was working at Tower, because I used to work the Ticketmaster machine, so I've actually bought the tickets while I was working. There was a company called Battlecade, and they were going to run in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And I had tickets, and I was fucking psyched as fuck. I could not wait. And then, just like what I was saying, that they had to change, because so many states, and New York was one of them, banned. It's now mixed martial arts, but back then it was just ultimate fighting.
Right.
And New York was one of those states, so they actually ended up moving that event down to like North Carolina or something, and I was so pissed. Because I had good tickets too. I was like third row or something. I was so excited. I was like, I might catch somebody's tooth. Because you ever read John McCarthy's book?
No, I didn't.
Big John's the.
If you read his book, he tells a story about, because he was not he didn't start refereeing for them until the second one. So he was at the first one, and that I think was when sumo guy got kicked in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by Dan.
Yeah, and then and John McCarthy, he was friends with the Gracie family, so he was sitting real close, and he just watched the tooth fly by, and he was just like, "Holy shit!"
Yo, it was crazy back in the day.
Oh, it really was.
No weight limits, no classes.
No, but that was the whole thing. You would have a guy that's like 200 something, like 210, fighting a sumo guy that's like 450.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no gloves, there's no rules. One guy might wear boots. Who was the dude that wore one boxing glove?
Art Jamerson.
Yes.
Art Jamerson.
Yeah, there were no gloves. Like, what you see now is completely different.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's an evolution. It's
similar
in that they're in the same size, same cage.
Right.
And some techniques are similar, but overall, it's a totally different sport. It has evolved so far.
Well, they also had to build that because they had to legitimize it because so many people were anti, and they tried to make it a real sport and give it some rules because that was the only way that people would actually allow it.
Right.
Because it just got worse and worse.
It's the only way people can make a career out of it too. If you work with commissions and stuff, more money pours into it.
Well, that was the other thing too, because you had guys with different disciplines. So you had like a karate guy against a sumo guy, or like a taekwondo guy versus a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. Now everybody's got the well-rounded styles. They may be stronger with one thing or another, like boxing or jiu-jitsu, but back then, dudes weren't training all different styles.
No.
And that's why you had dudes like Tank Abbott. Like, the dude was a fucking bar fighter.
Wait,
like him or...
Term, pit fighter. That's what he went.
Yeah, he was a pit fighter.
I know that, time has passed, but if you had to tell me that I was going into a bar fight at any point in my life and I could pull just somebody, he's definitely on the list of people that I would call.
Yep.
Because I know that shit was real for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not fucking George St. Pierre where he's all technical. No, he's coming in with the bombs. He's not fucking around. He doesn't even want to hear any jibber jabber. He's throwing ham hocks right off the bat.
There's two people like that. Him and Chris Lieben. Would be my...
But then again,
I got a name for you. Cabbage.
Oh yeah, Cabbage Correa. He's definitely coming in the fight.
Cabbage Correa. That was another dude. Like, you look at that dude. Like, that's not sports, bro.
No.
That's not sport. Like, that dude is a bar fighter. Like, there's nothing sports about that dude.
Though I will say, current day, if you were like, yo, you could pick one fighter to roll into any fight with you, it is definitely Francis Ngannou, because he's got that fucking power, boy. Like, just lay you on your ass with one foul shot. Just
hit you with a truck.
He's not even trying, and he's laying you out flat.
Oh my god.
Dude's a monster.
Like, Cody, I know you like to throw your hands at occasion, but Francis Ngannou comes up.
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good, dude.
You're good.
I have teeth left. I'm good. Now, if it's someone else, I'm like, all right, hold my teeth for a second. I'll handle my shit. But, like, I'm not fighting that dude.
Right, that dude is too big, and he's got dude, Mack truck for hands.
No, nobody wants that
I'm
smoke.
fucking running a breath tying my shoes at this point in my life.
Yo, after the last knockout, I sent Muttley. I was like, yo, Ngannou says he's coming to fight you. Where are you going? The moon? He says, no, I'm going to Jupiter.
Yeah, I was like, yo, I'm trying to catch the next ship to Jupiter. I don't want none of that, man. Like, I have no problem throwing hands when necessary, but there's nothing that would make that necessary. No, just no. Like, no.
So
I'll find a way around it.
Even is getting out of this fight. Like, he's been saying he wants this fight, but this motherfucker said, I want 8 to 10 million isn't even enough to fight him. Like, yo, bro, that means you don't want to fight him.
No.
Like, you have done the calculations and you know that you don't throw enough power to save your ass in a fight with that guy. If you can't knock somebody out with your hands at 205, he is going to wade through every punch you have and put your entire lights out. Like, I know people are like,
Jones is a beast.
No, Jones is a beast, and like, against almost if it was Jones versus Miocic, I'm picking Jones. But if it's Jones versus Derek Lewis or Jones versus or Jones versus Ngannou, I'm picking Lewis or Ngannou, because neither one of them are going to be scared of the power that Jones has. So all they have to do is avoid getting taken down.
I'm all in on it, because I would love to see Jones take that L.
Oh, me too.
Do you follow Lewis on Instagram?
Oh, he's the funniest fucking dude on the planet.
You know, gotta watch this video.
Like, how can you be that fucking funny and that fucking dangerous at the same time?
My balls are hot. Hold on, dude.
It's perfect.
Oh man, there was some compilation on YouTube, because I was telling my girl about him, and then like there was some compilation of all of his funny shit, and I just put that on, and I was in tears. Just all the stupid shit he would say after each fight. Oh, it's so good.
but both of them have great stories. Like Ngannou was basically homeless, and Derek Lewis was in jail for an extended period of time. Like, and they've both pulled themselves to a point where they're two of the best dudes going in the most coveted position of being in the heavyweight division, making money, and now Ngannou is champ. And you know what? Derek Lewis won that first fight because Ngannou was scared of that power. He knew that if he hit Lewis, he could put him out. But if he got hit, he could get put out because they both have fucking dynamite in their fists.
That's that shit that I love, because that's that Godzilla versus Kong shit right there.
Yep.
I'll take that all day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll take a boring fight. Wait, just the anticipation of explosion.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to see it when dudes like that go the distance, because they gas out quick, but there's always that chance that you're going to get that highlight reel spot where you're going to see a dude catch a bad fade.
Yeah,
and I'm all
Miocic,
for it.
I mean, I like Stipe Miocic.
Yes,
this
me too.
Is not a condemnation of Stipe Miocic, but when he got caught with that fucking left after he had stung Ngannou with the right, I swear that Miocic thought he was back in Croatia. Like, he was done. He was like, I've never even been to Croatia, but shit, I'm here now. Yeah. And he woke up just staring at the fucking lights. Like, where am I?
I don't know what happened, but I just saw the motherland.
Yeah. The poor guy. Like, I mean, I feel bad for him. Nobody wants to go out that way, but you run into the fire, bro, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I like him too. It was a good fight. It was good to see, like, but John Jones, I just want to see him catch a bad one.
Oh, God.
I want to see him, and he's just going to run. Mm-hmm. But I just want to see him slip once and catch that fade, take that beating.
He can't take it. He would get touched and be on the other side of the fucking gate.
Good. That's what I'm hoping for. I want to see him catch it.
Do you think Lewis and Marshawn Lynch would have been really good friends?
Possible.
I think they're both hilarious to watch in media and everything. And that's like the best. Like, me and Christine will watch Marshawn Lynch interviews. Like, I don't know why. I just put them on just because they make me feel better about myself sometimes. I'm like, this is great. And like, I feel like the same thing with Lewis. You just put him on and you're like, man, I'm going to smile for the next 5 minutes.
Lewis is so fucking funny.
It's perfect. Like, it's the perfect amount of self-deprecation and irreverence and just, like, off-the-cuff funniness.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm with it 100%.
Man, I was coming up here to talk about music. We just talked about some way cooler shit.
Dude, our conversations are vectors, buddy. We just
talk about
whatever
all
comes
kinds
up.
of shit.
That's perfect.
There's no rules when it comes to this, motherfucker.
I mean, listen, we talk about music all the time.
Yeah.
So, like, not that we don't like talking about music, but, you go play with the band, like, you're talking about music. Like, we like talking about music, but we like talking about all kinds of other shit.
Absolutely.
All right, so, music question.
Yeah.
Cody, what are, off the top of your head, top 5 bands that you listen to that nobody would expect you to?
Spanish love songs.
Okay.
Which is like, I fucking love them. I listen to a lot of, like, Rhymesayers rap. Like Sage Francis, Atmosphere, Brother Ali. I listen to a ton of Postal Service.
Okay.
I like being sad, dude. I like being sad. Makes me happy. Just throw me on the spot on that one. I listen to a shit ton of pop punk, honestly, because pop punk just, I drive, I get angry at everybody, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I can't be angry. This dude's getting broken up. What the fuck? So, a lot of that, a lot of Alkaline Trio. I do listen to a lot of hardcore. I listen to old, like, 90s metalcore. Like, I'm a big fan of For the Love Of. Big Folly fan, as you know. Big ska fan. Listen to Less Than Jake a couple times a week.
I support that.
So
Gary
I have
doesn't support it, but I'll support you on it.
I have a very wide range of things I listen to. Like, My grandma raised me on like Meatloaf, Elton John, and Billy Joel on the way to school every day. I moved from Port Richmond, Kensington area to the richest suburb of Pennsylvania, and she would drive me to school every day because we weren't rich, and I would get made fun of for not being rich. So every day we would listen to like old like piano songs and shit, and James Taylor, and she would drive me to school every day. We'd talk music.
So, growing up as a kid, I went to the Jewish Community Center for camp every year, and you know that as a black guy, it's probably kind of weird sounding, but it was the best camp in the area. So my parents were like, yo, we're going to spend the money for you to go to the best places and have the greatest experiences because we care about you. So we want you to grow. Here, go here. So every year, every summer, all I did was listen to Billy Joel. I fucking hated Billy Joel from the age of about 8 until the age of about 16. And then I didn't have to hear it anymore because I wasn't going to the camp. Something happened at about 32, and I fucking love Billy Joel now.
Scenes from an Italian Restaurant would be the song I get buried in the ground to.
I love that song. But, like, I didn't know that I liked Billy Joel because I was forced to listen to it instead of willfully listening to it. But I do legitimately like that. I have become an Elton John fan. Like, I'm not going to go and buy his records, but the songs I know, I love.
Yo, so at this Jewish camp, did you play Gaga?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
So I went to a summer camp where we played Gaga in Newtown.
Yo, yeah, well, all right. So there was down the street from you there was a Jewish community center. Like, if you turn onto Business One and go to the left and follow it out, there used to be like a Jewish camp there on the left, and I took soccer camp there, and like I used to go there, and they had a Gaga court there too. But you played Gaga in Newtown. Which location was that?
Newtown Swim Club.
Newtown. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, they had a Gaga pit, and I've always had giant fucking hands my entire life. And for some reason, with Gaga, I could blast people, and people would get hurt with it.
Yeah.
So for
all
people
right. I gotta ask.
What is Gaga?
What is Gaga?
Explain it to him.
Do it from the Bronx. This is over my head.
Gaga is, I think it's like a hexagon. I'm not really sure how many sides it is, but it's like two thick pieces of plywood high, all the way around a hexagon filled with sand and a volleyball. And you have to not get hit below the knees with the volleyball, so you have to block with your forearms.
Yep.
But you can dig. So like I would literally have cuts all over my knuckles from plowing this fucking ball through the sand at people's fucking legs. Because like I don't fucking like people now. I didn't like people when I was a kid. So people be like, oh, I'm so good at this. I'm like, all right, bet. Bop. As hard as I fucking.
So basically,
go ahead.
Take dodgeball and make it violent. Like, really violent.
Yeah,
In a small
there's a new one for me. It sounds like it's right up my alley. I just was never exposed to this.
You got to live in a predominantly Jewish community, dude.
So in my town. So Andy, that's how I know Andy. Andy's been on our show 4 or 5 times, and he's my best friend. I've known him since I was 3. He's Jewish, and I met him at the JCC. We went to preschool together. So I've literally known this kid since I was 3 or 4 years old. And I mean, we got pictures all the way back. And every summer we were hanging out, and we were playing Gaga and Foursquare and this, that, and the other thing. It was. I would never take back the childhood I had. It taught me so many things about how people act, because you get thrown in, especially in a camp where it wasn't an overnight camp. We went there and we went home. We went there and went home. But you spend 5 days a week in the hot summer sun. You learn how to deal with people pretty fucking quick.
I did the same thing. I left home when I was 15. I have a very bad childhood, very fucked up family situation with parents and everything. But my grandma saved me. I became like an emancipated minor, all this other shit when I got older. But she would send me. I moved in with her in like 4th or 5th grade. She gave me the best life I possibly could. I left home when I was 15, and I went and stayed with my friend Jared, who is either Hasidic or Orthodox Jewish. And I lived at his family for like 5 months. I was already tattooed at 15. I worked at a tattoo shop at 16. They taught me so much about other people, other cultures. They're all chefs in his family. We went to the same alternative school. There was only 20 of us. He ended up leaving to go to Jerusalem to become a kosher chef. And now he runs a place in Florida. Like, I had a shitty childhood. However, some of the things I learned throughout my childhood, I would not have changed for anything in the world, because it does not make me look at people any different, whether it be the color of their skin, their nationality, their religion, whatever it may be. There's so much you can learn from the next person. As long as they are good people to you, they are good fucking people.
That's how I try to treat everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no glory in, like, being a dickhead for no fucking reason. Yeah. There's none. So I try to treat everybody as nice as I can, within reason. Everybody has a bad day, and you know, like, everybody makes mistakes. I've made mistakes in my life, and I try to apologize when the time comes that it's needed. Mm-hmm. If you prove to me that I've done something that's way over the fucking line, I do not have a problem saying, yo, I'm sorry, I fucked up. Because what is life if you haven't, A, fucked up, but also gone to the next step and apologized for the fuck up to the person you fucked up with?
Yep.
You gotta have, we've talked about it on the show, Gary. There has to be, room for people to screw up and redeem themselves. Yeah. With no redemption, there is nothing.
That's how you learn.
Yeah.
And the other side of what Cody's talking about too is another thing we've talked about many times, which is that a lot of these problems that go on in this country are people that are isolated, people that don't interact with certain other types of people. So just like what you're talking about, where you went and spent time with this family and learned a totally different culture, like, a lot of these people, a lot of them just hate what they don't understand or what they're not exposed to. And we've talked about it so many times on this show, because they've never seen a black person before. They've never seen a gay person before. They've never been around Asians or whatever. So, like, I compared it to American History X.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you hate these people, but then once you're actually around these people, you start to understand, they're like me. They're normal people.
Yep.
They're not these crazy evil demons that I was brought up to believe they are. And that's where a lot of the problems come from in this country, because there's a lot of people that are just isolated and they don't get to interact with certain types of people. So what you're talking about is exactly what we need more of.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a complete dickhead. I have really bad days. I'm bipolar. Sometimes I have crazy mood swings randomly, and I apologize for them all the time, but it's something I live with. I have a chemical imbalance. It fucking happens. I'm in touch with my mental health. However, I will never hate on someone for being themselves or being a certain way, whatever it may be, just because your skin tone, whatever like that. That's not what the world needs it at all. If you want to be closed-minded and be in your own little cage, you're going to be the end of everything that's great about the people in this fucking world.
Mm-hmm.
And and like Len said, you can have bad days. Everyone fucking has them. But you have to be accountable enough to be like, hey, I fucked up. This is on me. And I'm even to the point where if I fuck up real bad, we can go shoot the one if you really feel that shitty about it. And I'm still going to shake your hand when we're done. I'm not going to lose, but we're going to shake hands. When we're done, I'm going to make sure you're all right.
Sometimes that's the way shit's got to get settled.
Yeah.
You know? But I think... I think a lot of people just don't realize that that's where their problems come from. That, like, they're just not exposed to shit. And listen, as we've said before, we're the hater elite squad. Like, we hate a lot of shit. We don't hate people for the color of their skin. We might hate the stupid shit they do. But, you know, we're not, we hate to a certain level, but there's other people that really take it way too far, and it's just rooted in ignorance.
I always look at it this way. How can I hate someone so much when I hate myself more than anybody else? I'm constantly working on my own self, and there's not a hatred for me to be the person that I feel like I am. All I can do is keep pushing forward and try being better. So why should I hate on somebody else when all they're trying to do is be fucking better?
I feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, Cody, you know me. You know that I'm a dickhead. That's like, that's part of the game. If you are talking to me, you got to know from the door that I'm probably going to say something that's going to irritate the shit out of you. It just is what it is. But I don't do it because of some brand of hate. I definitely I'm just an irritating guy. It just is what it is.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's totally fine. But as you said, I'm not hating on anyone. Especially like I might hate somebody for things they do, but it's not because of who they were born as.
Right. And Len and I are obviously the same way because that's why we've been friends for 20 plus years at this point.
So, that sucks. You had to deal with him for 20 plus years?
Yeah, well, I know how to deal with him.
So
and he knows how to deal with me, so it works out.
Cody, our mutual friend Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I've known Joe since first grade.
Oh, I know. I'm aware.
So, like, we grew up in the same town. We traveled in the same circles for a short amount of time. And then we found each other again when he started playing in Clubber Lang. And I was going to shows. And, like, he went away in the military, came back, and then he ended up playing in bands again. And we've reconnected probably now a third or fourth time. And Joe knows I'm a dickhead. I was almost in his band, but there was no way the two of us were going to work in a band together. So I said to him, I was like, yo, dude, I want to still be your friend, so I'm going to quit. Yeah. Because I know myself, and it's not going to work. Because we're both very stubborn.
Sometimes it's better to be aware of things on that level.
And I love Joe. Like,
I feel like I surround myself with stubborn people.
It's the only way.
It's just what I know.
Right.
And like,
but you know what? Stubborn people are like the best friends to have because they're not going to leave you.
Yep. And they're going to tell you the truth all the time.
Yep.
Right. And a lot of people can't take it when you tell them the truth.
Oh, no. Definitely not.
One of my close friends, Mike Gill, master's in clinical psychology. Worst person to fucking call in the world. I talk to him every fucking day, and he'll be like, so how does that make you feel? And I just hang up the phone. And I call him back 20 minutes later, and then I have an answer. But yeah, I surround myself with difficult people, but difficult people have gone through trials and tribulations to make them that way that will benefit you as a friend.
That's absolutely true. Mm-hmm. Speaking from experience, I can tell you that's absolutely true.
I know some of your friends too, man. We surround ourselves with tough people.
Oh, sure. But listen, that's why, like, once you get certain friends, like those are your long haul guys. Because, dude, the Billy Club guys, I've been friends with. When do we say Martin? Because I always go back to Lollapalooza.
Like 91, 92.
92 or 93.
Something like that.
And I met Glenn not long after that. But whatever the Lollapalooza was that Rage Against the Machine played, like, I was friends with Martin because I took Martin. Martin rode with me and a couple of my high school friends to that show. So that's how long I know Martin.
He is one of my favorite people that when I get a message from him, I've loved him. Because he's just so fucking nice. So you haven't met my band. I'm in a band with a man named Ethan, who is the most stubborn, grouchy old man ever.
Oh,
and he's my best friend.
He should have a conversation with Malone then.
He would love to.
I like Ethan a lot. He's funny. Mm-hmm. But my favorite thing about Ethan is the times he checks in from the gym with Shane. And it's just like he is so like what's the fucking word I'm looking for?
Over the fucking top?
Yeah, but he's like an old man, but he's not old. But he's got old man tendencies.
Dude, he's like 28.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. He's not even old. But, I mean, the things that come out of his mouth sound like something like someone 65 plus would be saying.
He's doing a Twitch channel with John Boyce and Ian Vandenberg where they just play guitar and like talk shit or whatever. He did a whole episode the other day with these crazy Macho Man Randy Savage glasses on and didn't stop. And then he was talking about Jesus raising from the dead, and he's like, "Oh yeah, remember that dude Jeff over there was over there?" And all of a sudden, boom, Jesus got up out of the fuck. He's just nuts. He started making up fucking apostles, named them Jeff and Arthur and shit. He's just fucking out of his mind. But yeah, and I mean, I was in his wedding. That's my dog. He's in my wedding. Everything. When I need an unapologetic answer from someone that I would call Uncle Isfan or some shit, he's my dude.
Okay.
Some 65-year-old dude's going to be like, well, back in the day, this is what I thought, and this should help you, kid. That's him.
He's a good dude. I like him.
Yes. I wouldn't do this band without him. If he decided it was done, it's done.
So let me go back to your band for a second.
Sure.
A lot of your lyrics, at least on the record that I've like listened to the most, have to do with either horror movies or serial killers. Mm-hmm. And like, where does your knowledge base come from on that?
So from serial killers is my grandma. When I was a real young kid, my grandma's always been super into criminal profiling and the way psychology dictates how people turn out. So when I was like a real little kid, she would teach me about serial killers and about criminal profiling, and I got real into it. And all growing up, I mean, I did my senior thesis on how abused kids turn out to become serial killers through like certain stages of abuse throughout their life.
Wow.
I've always been real into that. That's why, on like some serious shit, it's why I don't have kids yet. I've always been super scared of me not being ready to have kids and teaching them the wrong things and not knowing what to do if it goes wrong. So they've always taught me those things. The reason I write about serial killers and horror movies is I deal with my own personal demons. I've always been too scared to write about my own personal shit and be that vulnerable. So this last record and the record that's coming out now, I'm so unapologetically brutal on myself and how I am that I'm okay fine with being vulnerable and not using like metaphors and shit to try to describe how I feel.
Now, how did you end up there? Like, what got you to that point?
Honestly, growth. I started being... I don't care what fucking people think about me anymore. Yeah, I have a reputation for the last fucking 20 years of being kind of a goon, whatever. I'm okay finally in my life with showing people a different side of me, that there's more to me, and there's reasons why sometimes I'm super hyper because I'm trying to cover up my anxiety, or I'm super quiet, everyone thinks I'm upset. In reality, I'm just, figuring out things in my head before I speak and doing the opposite of what I usually am. There's just so many more things that as I get older, I'm becoming more and more comfortable because I realize the people that are around me don't care about my flaws anymore. I have nothing to prove to anybody. So just today, I sent 2 poems that I wrote on my flight over to BMOC, my bass player. Mm-hmm. He called me and he's like, this is the kind of music that I connect with. He's like, if you're cool with being this emotionally attached to how you really are on a daily basis and putting it to music, this is what people are going to latch onto, and this is what's going to make you feel the best being in this band.
Dude, that's what I think music is missing these days, is people that actually have something to say, but not just something to say, but like it's emotional for them. So when you listen to it, that you actually feel what they're going through and can attach yourself to it. It's wholeheartedly missing, in my opinion, from everything that people are doing. It just
welcome back, bro.
Hey, I'm ready to hear it. I'm 100% ready to hear it.
I appreciate that. It took some time, but I'm finally there, and I think maybe some of the things that are wrong with hardcore, and I'll put metal in there too, is this thought process that you have to be a certain way or play a certain way, or you have to be fucking popular band. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some, it bands that are really, that band Gulch is fucking great, but like, I'm not going to buy your fucking $50 hoodie just because every fucking kid down the road wants it on fucking merch drop. I don't give a shit about that.
Right.
If you have raw emotion, you have something to say, you take time and thought process into what you're doing, I'm going to relate to that more than, as much as I love like 90s hardcore. 90s hardcore, it's a different fucking time frame of shit to write about.
Yeah.
Like, the shit that they wrote about is missing as a community right now.
100%. I agree.
Right now, it's different. It's a different class of people that are inside of our social sect of music that we like. These people want an egotistical clout or the profile pictures or the friends. Guess what, dude? When fucking there's no shows for last year, you find out who really is your fucking friend. I can guarantee you most of those people that you take pictures with and want to be with aren't your real fucking friends. They're at home fucking drinking Michelob Ultra by themselves playing fucking beer pong with their two roommates. I'm just not about that. I think there should be an emotional connection to what you're doing, and if you're not doing it for the emotional reasons and the outlet, you're not doing hardcore. Hardcore has always been about the input and the output of your emotions and what you're going through those times.
Yeah. I also think it's a weird time now, and COVID just kind of brought it out even more. I think a lot of the shit you see going on in current events around this country and around the world, a lot of that shit is really heavily steeped in a lot of mental illness, like what you're talking about. And I think, like Len said, it's missing a lot, but I also think it's a good time now to get it out there and work it out a certain way. And I think now people might be more receptive to it than they were at different points. Because let's face it, you're talking about hardcore music, like hardcore music draws a lot of misfits. Not like whoa misfits, but like, we're the people that don't fit in other places. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So of course there's going to be a lot of people. Like, I know a lot of people that deal with different degrees of mental illness. A lot of them in the hardcore scene, a lot of them out, family, friends, all kinds of shit. And it's more prevalent now than ever, and a lot of that is because we've been cooped up in our houses for a fucking year.
Yep.
And it's just bringing a lot of shit to the surface. But even just with all the other stuff, all the political shit that goes on, everything else, like all this divisive nonsense, like, it's a good time now to really just use that shit. And I wish I was a lyrics guy. Like, I can write music, but I've never been a lyrics guy, but I wish I was, because it would. I'm sure it would probably fucking help me get some shit out. You know what I mean? Which is exactly what you're doing. And I think, I'm curious to hear this new stuff, and I think it's good. And if it helps you, the other part of it is that it also probably helps somebody else, because somebody else is probably dealing with that same bullshit, and they don't know how to deal with it.
So, did you catch any of the episode? We did 2 episodes with Malone from Billy Club, and it was basically hinging on his addiction issues, but it also had to do with how he had to deal with some of the trauma of his life, and that's kind of what set him into his path. And for us, getting the story out, the whole point of getting the story out was hopefully we could at least touch one person, give somebody else something to just think about. And we received multiple messages from people saying that, like, it really helped them to just hear a very candid conversation about someone's life who struggled and achieved the point where he's recovered, and he's recovered for over 9 years now.
Well, it was that, but also the other side of it, which was the people around him, like me, and talking about how it was on the other side, having to deal with all that shit, and that was a big part of it, and it's the same kind of thing because when you have friends and family around you, like it's your burden, but it's also theirs. Like what you were talking about with the people you surround yourself with, it's like they got to carry that weight too.
The one thing I never really talk about, like, there's some people that are close to me, like they know I've had a really rough childhood and a rough life and everything. And the one thing I think I could never give back is how much sleep my grandma lost during my whole addiction, which I was addicted to drugs from 13 to 25, 26.
Wow.
So, I mean, my whole family is filled with drug addicts. And that's why Christine, as much as I'll fight and bicker with her, she's my best friend, the girl saved my life. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have gotten sober or changed my life. I come from a family where drug abuse and drug selling is a part of what we do. That's what our family was based off of for a very long time.
Right.
I have PTSD from when I was a kid. I was super abused by my little brother's dad, like beat up all the time. And we're talking kindergarten, first grade. And I never talk about it. I just write about it. I find it easier. When I got sober, the one thing that it made me really do was look at all the damage I did to other people, not myself. I always thought I was just hurting myself or finding a way to numb how I really felt about how I grew up and about the things I did, and kind of blaming other people for why I turned out this way, when in reality, I was the only one doing the actions of fucking up my life further.
Right.
Now, I had 7 years sober in December.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently started doing microdosing, which I'm very open about too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to get put on meds for my bipolar, so I started microdosing mushrooms. I did a lot of research onto it. I don't take a fucking bunch of mushrooms to watch Star Wars and have a good ass time. I take 0.2 once every 2 weeks to reset the serotonin in my brain. And I actually found out about it by a couple of straight edge friends that Len, them too, that have talked to me about it, that it helped their life too. And I looked into it, I tried it, and it works really well. Weed's not for me. Drinking is not for me. I did 7 years through AA. Why the fuck would I pick up another bottle? It's not worth it. Drowning out feelings. But if I can take something that is natural, that isn't going to affect alter my mind in the wrong way, I'll do it. But ultimately, I have a lot of demons that I still deal with on a daily basis. And now I've been in this band 4 years, and I just started to write uncandid about it and be raw and emotional about it and not be afraid to show people how I really think about myself and how I really feel. We just did these 4 songs a year ago called Life, and a lot of my friends heard it and would call me and be like, "You all right?" I'm like, "No, never fucking okay. I just fucking deal with it." We wrote fucking songs that are all about fucking killing myself, because suicide is one of the things that no one ever fucking talks about, and it's in the back of everyone's brain at least once in their fucking life. It's something that really depressed people fucking deal with. And we did a whole music video for In Reflection, which is literally about looking in the mirror and hating yourself for what you've become and not realizing how much it affects everyone around you, and thinking that the world is better with you instead of with me in it. And the end of the fucking video literally has the National Suicide Helpline at it, because it's a real fucking thing that people deal with. Everyone wants to be cool and drink and party and fucking smoke weed and have a good time. But what happens when you're fucking alone? No one talks about that shit. When you're alone, you're the fucking worst enemy, dude. It's fucking terrible being alone. I ain't gonna lie. And it's something that I just got comfortable talking about at 33 years old.
There's dudes that are older than that still aren't comfortable. I know people who deal with shit like that. I've lost people to shit like that, and some of them, because the other thing too is in hardcore you get a lot of the tough guy mentality, and a lot of people just don't feel comfortable revealing shit because they don't want to be seen a different way, and then some of them just don't give a fuck, and then some of them are just not, like, they prefer to keep it internal.
Yeah.
You know, do you feel a difference as you start to put that shit to paper?
I do feel a difference. I feel like even when we first started this band 4 years ago, I had this image I wanted to be. I wanted to be not feared, but I wanted to be respected. And I wasn't comfortable with telling people how emotionally distraught I really am. So I just made everyone fucking laugh. I was always hyper, always drinking a shit ton of energy drinks to make other people happy, when in reality I wasn't making my fucking self happy. And I think just through the amount of time I've put into the relationships that I've reestablished after disappearing for years and then coming back to the hardcore scene when I got sober, the people that are in my corner regardless if I'm fucking sad, upset, happy, whatever. They don't give a fuck as long as I'm there. If I'm next to them, they're in my fucking corner. And if people don't have friends like that, I fucking feel sorry for you, because that's what you really fucking need in life, is people right next to you.
I agree with you. I mean,
Definitely.
I keep my friend circle reasonably tight. I don't have a lot of like random hanger-oners or anything like that. I try to build true solid relationships with people that through thick or thin will still be there for me. I will also be there for them. If, like, Cody, if you called me and you needed me right now, I would come over to your house. Like,
It's versa.
so that's, but there are other people in my life that I would not do that for on the drop of a dime, but it's because there is no shared experience. Right. Like, you have to, like, not necessarily be in the trenches with people, but you got to know where the people are coming from, and you got to be able to connect somewhere. And if you can't connect with people, then it's hard to make those friends. And I feel bad for people that aren't able to make those connections, because there are a lot of people who struggle over and over again to actually make friends. And I worry about those people.
I do too.
Well, like I said, I think there's a decent amount of people, and it's one thing that I've noticed that has changed, because it's become more acceptable over time to kind of reveal that side. We're more aware of mental health now than we were, and I think especially in the hardcore scene, because I think a lot of people recognize we've definitely lost people because of shit like that, and I think as people recognize that, the attitudes have changed, and people aren't necessarily always on that tough guy shit.
Yeah.
And people will recognize, you know, not everybody's going to pursue it just because you may not have that type of relationship, but I think especially with the closer friends, I think a lot of people are more open to talking about it and recognize those issues and try to put themselves out there more.
I've always thought of it this way. If I put myself into a position where I can play music where people pay attention to what I do, why would I not take that position for the right reasons and try to help other fucking people out? It's not for an egotistical thing for me. I don't care. This band could stop tomorrow and I'm still going to be Cody. Doesn't matter what band I'm in. Doesn't matter if you see me at a show, whatever. I just want to be a good fucking person in a community I care about.
No, that's important. And listen, that's why we do this podcast, because we always talked about it, and we said, yeah, we might get into some deep shit from time to time, but the whole idea of it is, even with whether we're joking around or whether we're talking about serious shit like this, like, all that stuff just informs people. And just like what Len said about when we had Malone on, and we've had these discussions with other people too, it's something that might open you up to something you weren't aware of, or you might find something in common with somebody that you didn't realize. Because there's plenty of people that have that struggle like what you're talking about. There's plenty of people that have other struggles like we've talked about before. And it's important, just like what I said when we were talking about different cultures and things like that. It's important to get that out there, and somebody will hear it and be like, shit, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
So it's like when we had that conversation with Chris. My friend Chris, I've known him for a long time at this point. He came on the show, and we were discussing his regimen for working out. And he's like, I'm not even really working out my body. I'm here working out my mind. This is where I get rid of my demons. So that actually points me to, I saw that you were building a gym in your garage. Yeah. How's that going?
It's going well. I bought an assault bike. I work on the highways, so I have like a crazy schedule a couple months out of the year where I work like 60, 70-hour weeks. Mm-hmm. And I'm gone for a real amount of time. And I started to work out with Ethan a lot while we were during COVID and everything. And I saw what it does for him, and it started to do the same thing for me, that if I'm working on my mental, I might as well work on my body too, because both of them are a vessel for me to feel better. So I recently turned my garage. I got jiu-jitsu mats out there. Me and Mike Gill ordered a 8-foot-tall Muay Thai bag. He teaches Muay Thai over in Bristol. And a lot of our dudes that come to visit us have been getting in classes too. So I have so many bands that when shows happen, they stay here. I want to give myself and other people more of an outlet when they come stay here or they're visiting, whatever, just to work out. Because you get to learn a lot about people while they're working out, including learning about yourself. So, I mean, it's going well. It's a slow process. We got a wall up. I got to paint soon. But I mean, even just me and Christine, we work a crazy schedule. She's in school. We have Nacho, my bulldog, which is a pain in the ass all the time. So, I mean, just to
Nacho
be able to go out.
Nacho is the man. Gary, I'm just going to tell you right now, Nacho is the man. Straight up.
You know me with animals, man. I'm always down. Dogs, cats, don't care.
I'm pretty sure he's like a 50-year-old English guy, but that's like his person.
I would agree with that.
But yeah, it's just like I don't always have time to go to the gym or to keep up with the regimen. But even if I could put in 10, 15 minutes a day, it makes me feel better about myself. I mean, some people go to the gym for aesthetic reasons. Listen, I'm a piece of shit. I look like a piece of shit. Totally cool with it. But I want to feel better.
I ride the line. So behind me, I have a workout bench. But right now it's covered with boxes of DVDs because I moved them from my upstairs to the downstairs. And I just didn't have anywhere else to put them, so I put them on the workout bench. I need to pull the stuff off and actually like start working out again, because basically I sit around every day with that hate machine going in my head, like, oh, you're a piece of shit, you'll never be anything, you're fat, you're this, you're that, like it's constantly beating on me. And when I work out, I feel better, and I think better.
Yep.
But it's like getting over the hump to do it for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To break myself into the pattern. So do you know Johannes?
I've known Johannes since I was in junior high. I've always been scared of Johannes.
One of the scariest men on the planet. But
one of the nice dudes.
Yeah, absolutely. But he also take your head off in no time flat. So he's been on the show, but I was actually working out with him from, we'll call it August 2019 through November 2019. And I went to his gym. It was like a Thursday, and I had just gotten back from Disney. And I started to not feel good the day that I went there. And by that Monday, I was like basically dying. And I think I had COVID. But I didn't know, because like they're finding out that COVID was like a thing a lot longer than just January, which obviously, I mean, there's no way it would have just sprung up in January. Anyhow, I talked to him like at least 3-4 times a week anyway. But I really want to get back into working out with him, even if it's an at-home program and he just calls me and talks shit on the phone to make me feel bad about myself and then go do it. I don't care what it takes, but I just need like some of that motivation. What motivated you other than just like going with Ethan to work out? Like what turned your mind that said, hey, I want to actually do this? Was there like a light bulb moment?
So I've always kind of like flirted with working out, whether it's I went to jiu-jitsu with Joe a bunch of times. I do Muay Thai with Gil when I can. And I was working out, I was eating well, and I wasn't losing any weight. I got my blood work done. My testosterone levels were like non-fucking existent, which I had to fix, which I've fixed, currently working on it still. But I just got to the point where I fucking hated myself, whether it be mentally or physically. And I just needed to do something. And I stopped writing. I stopped reading for a while. I was in a crazy deep depression. And, I always call the most miserable fucking person I know, and it's Ethan. Mm-hmm. I always call the miserable one. And he tells me the truth. And he got me out of my house and got me working. And that was my motivation. My motivation was not only did Ethan need someone to work out with for his mental health, but it was starting to affect my mental health where I didn't know I needed it, but I did. Side note, Johannes, I met him I've been going to shows since 1999. I was 12 years old when I first Warped Tour. Saw 7 Seconds, Orange and 9mm. It set it off for me from then. I started going to Palanca Park shows when I was still in junior high. My grandma would drive me in her Cadillac and drop me off, and I would kiss her in front of everyone there to say goodbye to her. I fucking love her.
Then we were at shows together. And I just didn't know you.
I've been little Cody until I turned 25. And I've always been going to shows. Johannes was the first person. I always went to punk rock shows. I love fucking punk rock. I still do. I went to an all-day Saturday show. You're going to know the show I'm talking about. Locked in a Vacancy, Lamb of God, A Life Once Lost.
Yeah, I know the show.
And Set Ablaze happened, and I watched Johannes dance. It was my first time watching people hardcore dance.
Yo, out of control.
I got nervous.
Yeah.
I was at the All Else Failed show where he did the backflip. That was one of my first hardcore shows. And it always did it for me. And I lost my way throughout the years. I got real caught up in a real dark part of my life, but it was always there. And I always remember feeling how fortunate I was to be a part of, most people don't know this, Bucks County, mecca of fucking shows back in the day.
Oh, dude, I saw all kinds of... So let me tell you a show that I saw in Levittown. Okay. Shai Hulud,
yep.
No Found Glory, in a fucking church.
It was the St. Paul's Church.
Yes, right on the main strip. Yep. That show was crazy. There was a whole bunch of other bands on it that I can't remember, but I remember specifically because the girl I was dating was like, yo, let's go see New Found Glory. I was like, I don't even know who New Found Glory is. And they're like, well, Shai Hulud's playing. And I was like, I'm in. I was like, you said my favorite word.
Yeah. I remember seeing This Day Forward as a real young kid. Mm-hmm. And it was someone gave me a burnt copy of Transient Effects of Light on Water.
Still one of the most wonderful records ever released.
I have a This Day Forward tattoo. I made Chris X promise me if they ever do a show, I will pay to play that show. I don't give a fuck. I'll give him for me to play that show. It's the first band where I had to look up fucking words because I didn't know what the fuck they meant. And for some reason, in my crazy English Agatha Christie fucking novel mind, that band, I never got into metal. That band just did something to me where I was like, I'm from this same fucking area. These kids went to the same fucking schools I did. What the fuck? And it opened my eyes to a whole different world outside of punk rock.
Okay. So I was already fully entrenched in that time frame of what I consider metalcore. Because when you say the word metalcore, it causes people to think of something that I'm not thinking of. Mm-hmm. When I'm thinking of metalcore, I'm thinking of the time period between 92 and 99. So it could be anything from Marauder through Cave In. Because you're blending metal and hardcore. It's not you're not shirking either side of the road. Whereas what is considered metalcore now is trash.
Totally different.
One of my first shows when I got sober, I had a friend of mine named Gay Rob. Not gay, just says I love you a lot. But we
Okay.
he's like, hey man, I got a ticket to Nate Fest. I'm gonna take you. And I'm like, hey man, I can't leave my recovery house. He goes, I'll talk to your house manager. Somehow gets me to go. So one of the first bands I watched, Bigwig. Always been a Bigwig fan. That dude's a douche, but I fucking love that band.
He is a douche.
Bigwig played For the Love Of, No More Black. It was just, that was where I was like, I lost it and I found it again. And for, like, when you're talking about 90s metalcore, I think of For the Love Of. It's the one band that I missed because I was so entrenched in fucking pop punk and trying to get girls and swooping my hair to the right. That is the one fucking band that I wish I got into really young, because that is some shit that influences me now.
So today, it's funny you bring up Nate Fest. I was at Chris Ross's house because the new band I'm doing is featuring members of various other bands, and on the wall is the original Nate Fest painting of Nate's face, because Nate and Chris used to be like best friends, and they lived 2 houses apart. So Nate lived 2 houses down from Chris, so like they were always hanging out. You know, life happens and they've kind of like gone separate ways, but the picture of Nate is still there, and I was looking at that picture thinking about Nate Fest earlier tonight while I'm playing guitar at band practice.
What a beautiful thing, dude.
So now you're talking about it, and it's just bringing me right back to band practice.
Mm-hmm.
But I have become friends with a number of the guys from For the Love Of over the years. I would argue that everybody except for either singer. Like, I'm not really friends with Dan, and I'm not really friends with Mike Oleander, but everybody else that is what you would consider a current member of the band, I've become friends with over the years, and it's all due to Doc from God Forbid.
Okay.
I became friends with Doc, and he just kind of introduced to me all these guys, and like Will, the bass player, awesome human being. Dan, he actually works one town over in Hamilton at like the not the Whole Foods, but it's like a whole food like grocery store type deal. It's called Black Forest Acres or some shit like that. So like I see these guys all the time. I talk to John, the guitar player. They are literally, of all the bands that have ever come out of New Jersey, my number one band. They touched on something in the back of my head that no other band from New Jersey has ever touched on. And the only other band that's close, that elicits the emotion that I have in me to like, A, really want to go off when you play, but B, really be into the things that you're saying, is Turmoil.
Okay.
So those 2 bands are like that time period. I'm talking 97 through 99. Those are my 2 bands, followed up only by Cave-In. That's it. Those are like, if I had to pick 3 bands from that time period of metalcore, those are my 3. And coincidentally, they all dropped albums in 1999.
99 was the shit. I had my uncle was married to this lady named Tina. They were married for like 15 years. Her brother Ray, super into punk rock, knew this band from Ivyland called the NC-13s. They were a ska band. They used to play the Ivyland Cafe all the time. Mm-hmm. So him and his buddy were like, hey, we'll take Cody with us. I had to have been 12. Young. But like No Effects was playing and shit, and I love punk rock. Always have. They brought me there, and they showed me, I've never seen Orange 9mm before. Never listened to 7 Seconds before. They had the Misfits Coffin box set, and we'd be listening the whole way there. Never listened to the Misfits before.
Wow.
At 99 is what shaped my life and my future in music. Now, granted, you guys are, 10 years older than me, whatever it is. For me to be 12 years old and still fucking doing it now is what I want for other kids that are in this for the right fucking reasons. When you find something that lasts
decades and a lifetime, and you make your whole life and family through what that is a beautiful fucking thing that other people do not fucking.
Yeah,
So,
it's rare, man. Because I mean, Jesus, June will be 20 years since I joined Billy Club, which is just insane. And like I said before, I've been friends with those dudes even longer, like before I was in the band.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy because I started going to shows in '91, and so many of my friends, like so much of my life has been dedicated to doing this shit, and I fucking love it, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. And it's just crazy, the different things that bring people together.
I started going, as we've talked about a few times, I started going in like 92, 93 with my friend Tim. I'm actually closer friends with his brother at this point, but I'm still friends with Tim too, for that matter. And like, we started going to City Gardens randomly to just like random shows.
Yep.
But they weren't necessarily hardcore shows. They were like, go see whatever, like Green Day's coming by. You just go see that. A first hardcore show I ever went to was Biohazard and Sick of It All in '92 at City Gardens. It's on fucking record. There's a recording of Sick of It All from that night.
Yeah.
I think about the fact that I've been doing this for almost 30 years at this point. It's a long time to put into anything.
Yeah.
I may not come out as much as I used to, but I have a business where I try to give back to younger hardcore bands. Like, young hardcore bands come in, I don't really charge them nearly as much as I would charge other bands, because I want to support the scene in the best way I can. And I don't think that I'm the greatest recording guy in the world. I would never tell you that I was. But I put out a reasonably good product, and I try not to charge you too much to do it, because I care. And if more people cared about the scene, things like that could happen.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to see fly-by-night kids either.
No.
But there's this like a certain amount of that's just going to happen. Kids that show up.
Oh,
and
sure.
It's the cool thing to do for 15 minutes of their life, and then they move on. Like, I look at these videos from, we'll call it Hellfest. Thousands of people at shows.
Yeah.
Where are those people now? They were the same age I was.
Mm-hmm.
I am still here. Where are you? This was a tourist thing for you, and it was real to me, and it is still real to me.
Still real to me, damn it.
Yeah, it's like fucking wrestling. It's still real to me.
I remember it had to have been maybe 2000. My grandma let me hop in a van with a band called the Nids. They were from fucking Ben Salem.
I know the Nids.
So Tim Donahue is in my fucking wedding party. I still talk to him every goddamn day. When I got arrested, he called my fucking grandma, helped put money in my books. Like, that's my dude. He still to this day, my grandma let me hop in a van with them and go on tour with Big D and the Kids Table for 4 days to Cafe Metropolis, all over fucking Jersey, all that shit. And to this day, those people and he was straight edge his whole life. He never did anything. Whenever I got too fucked up or too lost in the sauce, there were still people throughout music that their whole lives were music that are still there today. And I was 13 years old. I'm fucking 30. That's 20 years. 20 years. And some people that I just happen to like the same fucking music with are still right by my side, helping me in everything that involves my life.
Yeah, it's crazy when that happens, because you have, I always say, I made some of my best friends and my worst enemies in hardcore. And then I always think about what Bobby the Brain Heenan said one time, that somebody started to talk shit about the wrestling business in front of him, and he stopped them, and he's like, listen, wrestling gave me everything that I have. And it's like, for us, like, hardcore gave us a lot of what we have. I know for me, like, my whole life, since I went to my first show in '91, like, I was hooked and started playing in bands and stuff like that. And especially since I joined I played in other bands before Billy Club, but especially since I joined Billy Club, like that's been one of the main focuses of my life, and I wouldn't change it for shit, because I've been able to go to a lot of places that I would never be able to go to otherwise. I made a lot of friends with people all over the friggin' world, which is just crazy. And like I think about like when I was a kid listening to my brother's fucking Van Halen records and thinking like, yeah, this is cool, and like never did I think I would actually be able to do something with it.
So that's one of the things. It's like you come to Landmine Studios and everybody's like, oh my god, you have so much crap. And I'm like, look, it's not that I have the crap. It's that A, I put the work in, but B, all the stuff that I have is specifically to help other bands, and the bands coming to me have helped me build that platform to be able to give back. I work with Sonny, and when bands come from out of town, I go, hey, don't even worry about like a band came from Cleveland or Ohio, and I'm like, look, I got you. I got amps, I got cabs, I got drums, I got cymbals. All you got to do is get here, and we'll cover the rest, because that is how you help. It's like,
oh yeah,
why would I be a dickhead about it?
I would not have the connections that I have inside of our scene if it weren't for, especially a lot of the bands that, helped Gloves Off in the beginning, whether it be, Descent, Departed, Wisdom in Chains, all those guys. Those guys are 10, 20 years older than me and took me fucking everywhere and showed me that this is still alive and well, and they put their whole life into it and do nothing but give back. All they have ever done is help me as a person and help my band so we can get a message across, so we can continue to do that. Now that my band's getting somewhat bigger, I can do the same thing for the next band, bring them on shows, and there's been plenty of shows where other bands have gotten stiffed on their money, and I've just given them our guarantee. You drove further, take the fucking money. I don't give a shit about that.
Descent used to do that all the time.
Yeah, I've been on both sides of that.
I was like, yo, I make money at fucking work. I don't need this money for this night out is fun. This is about having some fun with my friends. Like, we're here to play, and great, it's fine, but you guys got a long way to go. So, band came out from Detroit, and I was like, yo, you don't have a place to stay? Come stay at the studio. You need money? I got you. You need a show? I'll book it for you. Because that's how you make this thing fucking work.
I never understood older dudes that hate on younger bands. That shit never made any sense to me, and I've always gone out of my way, and I've done it. I've done it with more than one of Len's bands, and I've done it with plenty of other younger bands too. Okay, you guys want to play a show with us? It's a little bit of a different crowd. Like I've booked pop punk bands on Billy Club shows. It's and I don't care, because it's getting them a little something different. And if you got, if it's the right show and it's something that they might fit in, I'm not going to put them in a spot where everybody's going to hate on them. But, just like I put Breath of Silence on, just like I put Descent on, and I keep doing that. I've done that many, many times with different bands, because to me it's always important, once you get to a certain spot, you pull other people up with you.
This band has never been a hardcore band for me, and the only shows we ever play are hardcore shows, because hardcore community supports itself.
Yeah.
For us to break into the metalcore community, I don't think we ever really fucking will. Honestly, it's not that it's that much different, but with what we do and the people that support us, we're involved in this community. For us to break into a metalcore community, I can't name very many people under 25 that like my band. Younger kids like different things. That's fine. I'm not doing it for you to like my band. My band's never going to go on a month-long tour to get the publicity we need. We're never going to be able, maybe we'll go to Europe for a week or whatever, because that's going to be our vacation time off of fucking work.
Right.
We're not in a band to get 1 million fans. I'm not in a band to get the reputation. I'm in a band for fucking me. And if I get to see cool places, that's awesome.
And a lot of people always try to help us out. And the only thing I can do is repay people for that by helping the next person.
Yeah.
I will say that towards the end of Descent, we had started to make the turn into the metalcore community, and they were starting to embrace us. I don't think that you guys are... Yeah, I think you guys are even more metal than we were, technically. Technically. I don't think that it's impossible for you guys to make that turn. I think you guys would fit in well on a show, especially like a show with like Keonashi. I think that you guys playing a show with that band would make a lot of sense. There's like a lot of bands out there that kind of ride the line, that bounce back and forth between hardcore and metalcore, that you guys could certainly do well playing shows with. And I think that you should attempt to do it if you're looking for advice from me as an outsider. But also pick and choose. Be choosy when you do it, because the wrong show will basically waste your time.
And that band, Keonashi, is one of the younger bands that does support what we do. And I fucking love those kids.
Yeah, those kids are awesome.
Yes, they are. And they don't do anything to fit into a subcategory. They do what the fuck they want. And if you like it, that's cool. If you don't, who cares?
That's always the best.
I said after they played This Is Hardcore, I was like, this is my new favorite band from the area, because they do whatever it is that they want to do, and that's what I want to see. I want to see bands being themselves. So I'm really looking forward to this next release, Cody, where you're being you. I want to hear it. So
I promise to be what I really am. I'm not afraid anymore of showing people a softer, more intimate side of how people really am, including myself. And hopefully, it is well received, and we can, play This Is Hardcore, play Fan Fest, or, play outside of just hardcore shows and play with some, bigger bands that we wouldn't normally fucking play with. That'd be dope. But I mean, ultimately, hopefully it's received for being the way it is. And I know a lot of some of the toughest dudes I know connect with my band because it's not cookie cutter,
which is good.
They keep being me.
That's always something that stands out. Yeah, that's always something that stands out to me. Like, if you got a band that's doing something different, because it's so hard to be different. I mean, look at it, if you just look at it just from if you look at it almost like clinically, it's like there's only 12 fucking notes, okay? So how many different configurations of things can you come up with? So when somebody's doing something original, it stands out, whether it's lyrically or musically, and even if it's not necessarily my thing, I'll always respect it. I don't like people that are just straight derivative.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem right now, is that there are so many bands that are just taking another band's style and rewriting their catalog. Correct. Instead of synthesize the essence of the band and be your own band. Yeah. Like, if I listen to you guys, I can hear influences, but you guys don't sound like any one specific band.
Right.
And I feel like when we were doing Descent, by the time we got to the end, we only sounded like us. And we did not sound like any other specific band. You could break it down and find pieces, but it was a little off the beaten path. And that was one of the reasons why we struggled also to find our place, is because we were doing something that wasn't necessarily what everyone else was doing.
Right.
Same boat, bud. Same boat right now.
That's why when we rolled together, it was a great time, because we were just two boats in the fucking ocean going whatever direction we wanted to fucking go.
And no matter which band was playing, so this is a problem that I personally have with Gloves Off. A lot of the times when you see us for the first time, you don't know what to do because you're just watching what my band's doing. My band is stupidly fucking talented and tight. That's just what they do.
So everybody watched Mike Polaro. When we played, everybody was staring at Mike Polaro. What is Mike going to do tonight?
Wait, Mike filled in for us twice too.
Yes, he did. Our bands had crossover. It's fine.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Everyone watched Mike Polero. With my band, everyone watches Ethan. Right. But now that we have a guitar player playing fucking bass that actually does fucking full-on, like, I don't play fucking bass. He doesn't play root notes. That's all I can say. Right. He plays fucking technical-ass shit that's off-key and harmonics and pinches and weird shit. Our drummer's a left-handed 6'8" juggernaut. He's 6'5". You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's
like, we're just a weirdly put-together band. Then you got Sean, who's just this fucking stoner that looks like he can't do anything right, and he gets on and he fucking shreds. Mm-hmm. Sponsored by Ernie Ball. You're like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? So it's either, once you see us a couple times, you know where the dance parts are, you know the sing-along parts. If you see us for the first time, the biggest problem we have is that first time when you see us, because you don't know what to do.
We don't know where you don't write stuff in a pattern that's like, oh, well, here's the breakdown. Yeah. It's coming. Oh, there it is.
Here's the build-up to the breakdown.
Right. But we suffered from the same thing because we would just drop into a breakdown out of nothing and come right back out of it, right back into a part. And, like, you just don't know what to do. You're right. And you just get people, like, basically giving you the raccoon eyes. They're just, like, staring, and they're stuck.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that, though, honestly. Like, I mean,
I didn't care. The only person in the band that cared was Mitchell. He was like, yo, nobody liked it because nobody moved. I'm like, nobody moved, but they were fucking banging their heads. They were into it. They just weren't moshing. Who cares?
If I have your attention, whether it's you dancing, looking, bobbing your head, whatever, I have my 15 minutes of you watching what we fucking care about.
Right. That's what I would say. I was like, look, did anybody leave the room? Nobody left. Everybody watched the whole thing. It's a win.
Yeah, the 10 people drinking Modelo, they're still there. Don't worry.
They're still staring. It's fine.
See, I'm lucky because I got Mr. Charisma up front.
Yeah, you do.
So yeah, you do.
He just draws them right in.
But you also have 20 years of legacy.
That's true too. So between that and Mr. Personality up front, he'll bring them all in. We can just sit back. I guess
it's 25 years of legacy, basically, isn't it?
Well, that's true because I've been in the band 20 years, but they had another 5 before me. So, yeah, this year is actually the 25th anniversary. It's 20 for me, 25 for them.
Jesus.
If you give any band that is active and likable 25 years, you just build in a certain amount of charisma and a certain amount of just guaranteed attention.
Yeah.
See, we got lucky. We had, like Mad Joe from Wisdom and Chains would give me pointers all the time on how to be like a better front man. And I have, when I do my vocal stuff in the studio, Bob Meadows from A Life Once Lost lives fucking 7 streets over and comes and sits in the studio with me. So I have people that their whole entire lives have been creating a mystique and creating a legacy through music that I don't even have to fucking ask them for advice. They'll give me shit that has helped them throughout, and I can pick and choose what I use to make it my own.
Just don't do anything Martin tells you to do.
No, I'm not going to. I can't wear that
for your own safety.
I don't think that shirt would really bring out my curves. I'm good. But I'll talk to him anytime he wants. I love Martin.
All right, so we touched on the subject a little bit, but just to wrap this thing up tonight, and number one, I want to have you back on at some point, Cody, to go back over some other shit that we just didn't even possibly get to today. Okay. But top 5 serial killers. Who are your, go-to guys?
Let me preface this by saying Jeffrey Dahmer's a bitch. Fuck that dude.
Okay.
That dude was a fucking pussy. Carl Panzeram is definitely the most brutal. Long Island, he dumped people in front of a lighthouse in the middle of Long Island at a place called Executioner's Point and literally sodomized over 1,000 people. He was fucked up. Ed Kemper. Kemper's always been a big thing of mine because he's just a gigantic monster and he fucked his mom's head. That's some crazy shit, you know what I mean? That's wild. He actually killed.
That's next level.
He's the co-ed killer, right?
He's the co-ed killer. He killed his grandparents at 15, went away, and they let him back out at 21.
Oh, God.
Wild shit. I'm a big Ted Bundy guy because of the charisma. My grandma was real into it. He actually worked next to, I think, the bitch's name, Danielle Steele, the writer. They worked together on a paper, and she talked to him every day during all that and never knew he was the serial killer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, some wild shit.
I don't count Kevorkian as a serial killer. However,
he is great.
He technically is a serial killer, though.
He deserves a spot.
He deserves a spot. I think that he was far before his time. That I think what he did was good for humanity.
I do not disagree with that. I think that's an important thing.
Absolutely. And number 5, I'm gonna go with. Honestly, I have to go with like the Night Stalker. There's so much more about Richard Ramirez people don't know and how fucked up he actually was. There's a whole documentary right now on Netflix. I'm gonna go 6, by the way. I just thought of another one.
Okay.
Night Stalker. There's a Netflix series that just came out a couple weeks ago on Netflix.
I've been meaning to watch that. I did see that pop up.
So
you're gonna learn some crazy shit.
For listeners, listeners, the reason that I was like, yo, Cody, you have to come on the upgrade is that I was in the middle of watching that specific thing, and me and Cody had basically like a 2-hour conversation about serial killers in general, and I was like, yo, you need to come on the show and just hang out and talk. So, yes, 100%. That you should watch that Netflix documentary.
And there's one other one. So I always, if I have to pick a one all-time favorite, I'd go Dr. H.H. Holmes. He was the very first serial killer documented in America, and during, I think it was like the 1890 or some shit like that, Chicago's World Fair, he bought a hotel that was a city block long, and he literally killed so many people they don't fucking know. So it could be, they're thinking it's over 200 people in the amount of a week. They also thought he could possibly be Jack the Ripper because he was in fucking England while all that happened, and he went to school to be a surgeon. So Dr. H.H. Holmes, fucking weird dude.
I'm aware of H.H. Holmes. I did not know the connection back to England piece. I'm going to actually look into that. So for me, my number 1, as I was telling you, is the Green River Killer, Gary Ridgway. I'm a John Wayne Gacy fan. I don't know. I love it.
I have his autobiography somewhere here if you ever want to borrow it.
Nah, I don't need to get into that. I know enough, just in general. But like the reason why, if I go back to Gary Ridgway, the reason why he was so on my mind, and like that I know as much as I know about him. Prolific in that he's got damn near 50 proven victims, but he also was operating from 82 through 98. So you got to imagine I was 6 and my family was watching the news, so I'm hearing about the Green River Killer all the way until 1998. So literally my entire like span of paying attention to shit from a child to like an actual adult was captured by this guy out there just murdering people, and they couldn't figure out who it was. So that's what really puts him into my like top position.
Okay. Gacy.
Yeah, Ramirez, just an amazing. The Golden State Killer, also high on my list.
Is that because of how long it took to catch him?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like, just ran wild for 7 years, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think he killed, like, 12 or 13 people, and they, probably more, but they actually tied him to that many.
Yeah, confirmed. Yeah.
And Henry Louis Wallace is the Taco Bell Killer. Anybody who's the Taco Bell Killer is on my fucking list.
Oh, shit.
So, Gary, do you know a lot about serial killers or not?
What's funny is Len mentioned it to me before we got on, that you're really into serial killers. I used to read a lot about them, and then I kind of, much like horror movies, there was just some point where I kind of lost track of it, and I'm definitely not as on top as I used to be. Like, years ago, because like when I worked at the record store, we had all kinds of serial killer books, and I would just buy them or borrow them and just read up on them, you know, with the Manson stuff, and like, but I kind of lost track of it, so I'm definitely not nearly into, like, I definitely can't hang in the conversation as much as you guys. But I am aware of a lot of it, and I will say there is so much on Netflix right now.
It's so good.
It's
so good.
That it's probably going to drag me fully back into it.
Let me preface this. I don't believe in glorifying serial killers.
It's about learning the mental psyche of one.
I remember I have a Ted Bundy portrait on the inside of my thigh with a quote from him that says, what the fuck is it? We serial killers are your sons, we are your husbands, we are everywhere.
Yeah.
I got inside of my thigh, and the first person to text me is Richie Crutch. He goes, what the fuck's up with that? And I was like, yo, I've been learning about it my whole life, me and my grandma. One of the things I told you guys before we started recording, my grandma actually wrote Corcoran when Manson got internet access in the 90s and wrote them every fucking day to get him off the internet. My grandma was like super civil rights and everything, and it's just always been a part of me or whatever. It's not, to me, it's not a glorifying thing. It's interesting. It's fucking psychology. It's how a human brain works, or how being raised dictates how they killed people.
Oh, for sure. That's the most interesting part of it. Well, much like what we talked about with the mental health stuff and helping people understand and relate, there's an element to that with serial killers also, where it's just trying to understand that mindset, and also trying to see it and anticipate certain actions.
Mm.
You know, that these are the type of behaviors that could lead somebody in that direction, and try to steer somebody away from it. So that's a big part.
Self-harm, that shit. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. The animal stuff.
And we're not talking about redneck animal shit, because, like, let's face it, rednecks kill farm animals and shit. They're not going to take their dog to the fucking vet.
Well, because what's the thing? I won't watch it because I heard it's a little too much for me, because I can't deal with the animal shit.
Oh, the cat?
Don't fuck with cats.
I couldn't watch it.
Yeah. See,
I watched it.
Yeah, I won't watch it.
It was nowhere near as bad as it sounds.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Somebody told me. I don't remember.
It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah. One of my friends said to me, "Don't watch it." Because
no, I'd much rather you kill another fucking human being than kill a goddamn animal.
Oh yeah. But that's one of those easy signs that if they harm animals, there's evidence showing that leads to human mutilation and stuff like that.
It's one of the first telltale signs of someone being a sociopath or a psychopath.
Exactly, because it's that disconnection with another living thing.
Which I got plenty of friends that are definitely sociopaths or psychopaths. However, they won't touch an animal.
Right.
Can you stop and move this fucking turtle across the street? Yeah, dude, no problem.
Yeah, I believe it. But listen, whatever, fuck humans. Most humans are assholes. But agreed. I definitely can't, if it turns into, like, dude, I won't even watch John Wick.
Oh, a fucking dog.
I heard, like, somebody told me, he's mad because somebody killed his dog. I'm like, can't do it. Cannot do it.
If someone killed my dog, I'm killing your whole fucking family.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's grounds for death. What's up, Nacho?
Nice.
Wake up, big guy. So I got new neighbors across the street, and I was told that the lady was smacking on her dog, and I didn't see it, so I'm not going across the street yet. But if I come outside and I see her smacking on that dog, I'm going over there.
Because listen, I have a big dog. If he's really bad, tries to bite someone, I'll absolutely tap him on the butt.
Oh no, I'm not talking about a tap on the butt, because I mean, people will tell you not to smack your children on the ass, but you know what? It fucking works sometimes. Do that shit if you have to. Every child is different. Not every kid needs that, and I'm not talking about beating on your children, but I know that I needed a whack in the ass on occasion to get my shit straight.
Yep. And some people need a ass, dude.
Some people need it, and some people it destroys them. You have to understand the person that you're working with. But if you're smacking on a dog, and I'm not talking about like a little pap on the ass, I'm talking about like beating on your
Like
dog.
full beating.
I'm coming across the street.
No. Yeah. No.
I'll be like, how you get? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
No.
not acceptable way to do.
I'm with it. I mean, I just have 2 cats, but I've had dogs and cats over the years, and I fucking love animals. And like, dude, Cody, if I went to your house, I'd probably spend the whole time fucking chilling with the dog.
Everybody does. I
Yeah,
had Concrete, that band Concrete from New York.
Yeah.
They came down here to, I think, play a couple shows or whatever. They did a guest spot with us. So they stayed here for the night. They were playing Philly for Joe Hardcore. That's what it was.
Right.
I just got Nacho. He was like 5 weeks old.
Oh, shit.
I wake up in the morning. All of them are sitting around his crate being like, can we let him out yet? And like, there's some weird dudes, Lennon, John, or some weird dudes. Like, I'm like, yeah, dude, just let him out. They sat on the floor with him until they had to leave for the show.
No, that's some shit that I would do.
Well, you brought Nacho to the studio right when you got him.
He was a baby then.
Yeah, he was definitely a baby, but he was the cutest little dude.
And now he's 90 pounds of hate.
Of
He's really good. He has like you know, like gremlins, how you can't like feed them after midnight.
Yep.
So I have him on a natural like doggy Prozac that he has to take at 6 o'clock. If not, he gets mean at night because he's a bitch. He just doesn't want to be bothered.
He's like, leave me alone. I need a nap. I've had a long day.
Dude, the other day, Christine had people here. Someone hit the doggy gate or whatever, and he snapped because it scared him.
Wow.
He's just a big baby. It's preparing me to have a kid one day.
Yeah, it's a thing. Well, Cody, I'd like to thank you for joining us on the upgrade.
Yeah, man.
This has been a time, and you should definitely come back.
I appreciate it. I'm definitely down to come back. I go back
talk
to work.
more comic books, and Len can take a nap.
Yeah, I'll just snore in the corner. I'll pause the fucking microphone so you don't hear me.
I'm about to go read Sandman until I go to sleep right now.
Nice.
Oh, man.
So thank you guys for having me. Thank you for letting me be myself and talk about shit outside of hardcore, because there's way more to hardcore dudes than just fucking hardcore.
So anything you need to plug?
We have a new album coming out at the end of the year on Upstate Records called And Everything After. It is the second part to our EP from last year called Life. It's all about fucking mental health and hating yourself and relating to other people. And if you are suffering out there, there's always help. Whether it's your friends, a hotline, fucking mental health clinic. Fuck, I went to them when I was young. It's okay. You're not alone. No matter what you're feeling, you're not alone. And hopefully, you know, these next couple of years is not the couple of years of the tough guy, and it's the year of people that relate to each other and build together.
Can I take a second, by the way, and just big up Mario and Upstate Records, because they're doing a lot of shit right now.
They don't do me wrong. They're great to me.
Yeah.
Always treated us right when we were there.
Yeah, so. I got something from him recently, and was in touch with him. He's good dude. They're doing good work up there.
Absolutely.
Working with a bunch of bands and doing good shit.
Him and his wife are in it for the right reasons. They don't ask too much of us. They try to help us out as much as they can. And they don't want the glory and the fame. They just want to help people, and I respect that.
Yeah. No, it's
100%.
very cool. And that's why I point that out, because I think when you're doing stuff like that and you're doing it for the right reasons and taking care of the right people, then
it'll all come back to you.
You deserve a little bit of recognition.
Yeah. What I'll say is, when we were doing Descent, we were struggling to get the promotion that we needed as a band, and when we decided to sign with Mario, he took the reins and really helped us by getting us in magazines, getting our material into different locations of the world, and he really opened up a lot of doors for us that were previously closed. And I couldn't say anything better about him as a human. Him and his wife, Kim, are great people, and I appreciate them very much.
He will be the reason, if we do break through, to another subgenre of music, it'll be for Mario helping us through media and outlets and magazines. And I'm forever grateful, even if it doesn't fucking happen. All he does is try to help.
Yep, 100%. Great dude.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you, man. We'll have you on again soon, hopefully. TheUpgradePodcast.net for links to all our social media. And we will see you guys again soon.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, what is running real tight?
I'm passing White Castle right now.
You're passing White Castle right now? Swerve
Literally,
across
I
3
just
lanes
passed.
of traffic.
Yeah, your problem is you're passing it. You shouldn't be passing it. You should be turning into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't fuck with White Castle. I told you guys on the fucking show. I want to keep my insides inside.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. It's
man,
I'm fine.
Get a lot of cheese. You'll be fine.
It's like my girl's like, can we get 3 cheese cups? I'm like,
Oh,
all right,
Jesus
fine.
Christ.
Can we get 4?